So the next one, if you see educational related services, before going to educational related services, we should understand the definition of educational institution. Educational institution definition has 3 points, guys. Number one is nothing but the preschool education up to higher secondary school or equivalent. So we can say play school, preschool, all the stuff. So up to 12th, we can say that way. So I am calling this as EI1. EI2 is nothing but who are providing education as a part of their curriculum for obtaining a qualification recognized by any law. That means Indian law. Okay. So for timing in force, UG, PG colleges, engineering colleges, MBA colleges, all that stuff. So we can take that way. I am calling this as EI2. Next, education as a part of any approved vocational educational courses. So I am calling this as EI3. You know, there will be like ITI colleges, etc., which are providing vocational educational courses. Sir, these are three educational institutions: EI1, EI2, EI3. For our clarity, please remember that way. Educational institution definition has 3 points. So one is preschool up to higher secondary school. Next, any educational qualification for recognized by Indian law. Next, number 3, as a part of their curriculum. Okay, that means all these CA coaching institutions or these IIT exam coaching institutions, NEET exam coaching institutions, IAS coaching institutions, all these things cannot be called as educational institution. Please understand that. Okay, so that is what the concept. Okay, fine. Now, sir, here not only that, one interesting point is, sir, they have also told generally central and state educational boards are also treated as education institution only for the limited. That means your CBSE, state boards, etc. will be there. No, those boards are treated as educational institution only for limited purpose of providing services by way of conducting examination to students. Apart from that, it cannot be treated as educational institution. That is why exam fees paid to the central or state boards are exempt under GST. Okay. Now coming to the point. So first we are done with education institution definition. Let us come to the exemption here. Sir, when you see the exemption, sir, what the exemption says? Sir, exemption says, sir, I can divide the exemption into here two things. One is sales by the education institution, the other is purchase by the education institution. If you see, there are two cases where education institution is a supplier. Sir, where education institution is a supplier, they are providing any service to their students, faculty, staff exempt under GST. I repeat, any service provided by education institution to their students, to faculty and to staff is exempt under GST. Same way, these education institutions are conducting entrance exams for the people who wants to become their students. They are not actually their students, they want to become their students. For such people, they are conducting the entrance exam, that is also exempt under GST. So these are the two cases where education institution is the supplier. Okay, if they are providing their services, then it is exempt under GST. So that is why I told you central and state educational boards are also treated as what? Education institutions for conducting, for the limited purpose of conducting examination to students. So they are charging fees, exam fees from the students, that is also exempt under GST. Okay. Now coming to next category where educational institution is the recipient. Education institution is the recipient. Sir, education institution is the recipient here. If you see, sir, when education institution is buying the services of transporting their students, faculty, staff from any person, is exempt under GST. But this exemption is only for education institution 1, EI1, who is providing education as a preschool or up to higher secondary school or equivalent. For them only this exemption. Transportation of students, catering services, security, cleaning, housekeeping performed in such education institutions. Sir, these are what? These things, sir, these things are what? Exempt only for EI1, sir. If it is provided to EI2, that means UG, PG colleges or any ITA colleges, occasional educational courses, for those people, if they are provided, it is very much taxable. Please understand that. So here, transportation of students, faculty, staff, important point, this please focus here. The transportation of students, faculty, staff, it is exempt under GST. And not only that, catering provided, including midday meal scheme program, all that stuff, that is also exempt. And if you remember, sir, school spelling, you just remember, sir, school spelling, S for security, C for cleaning, H for housekeeping. These should be provided in such education institution. For example, there is any function, annual day program of school happening outside the college or outside the school, somewhere in the auditorium, there they are providing security, cleaning, housekeeping services. It is very much taxable. But please understand, these exemptions are available only for EI1, only for EI1. If at all they are provided to EI2, EI3, that is very much taxable. Please understand that. Fine. Next one, what is the next one? Sir, any service related to any service. This one is again important. Please be careful here. Sir, services relating to admission or conduct of examination. If education institutions, all EI1, EI2, EI3, if they are buying any service which is in relation to admission or conduct of examination. See here, for example, sir, for providing the admission or conduct of examination, sir, there are input services like online test service or result publication or printing the exam notification, printing the admit cards, all that stuff, sir. Even the boards, educational boards or some institutions, EA1, EA2, EA3, anybody are paying to professors for setting the question papers, are paying to professors for valuing the question answer sheets, all that stuff. So any service which they have taken, they are taking the education institutions on rent, they are paying rent for the exam halls, all that, sir. Any service which we buy, for what purpose? For conducting the exam. Sir, I am an education institution, I am EA1, EA2, EA3. What is that I am doing? I am taking services. What are the services I am taking? Any service which is in relation to admission or conduct of examination, those services are exempt under GST. So please be careful there. Okay, so that is another point. Next, coming to the next one, sir, another purchase is, sir, online periodical journals, online educational journals, all these things, sir. That one is exempt only for EI2. For EI1, EI3 it is not relevant. So that is only for EI2. That is where you are providing education as a part of curriculum to obtain a recognized qualification. Engineering colleges, UG, PG colleges, they are buying online periodical journals, online educational journals, all that stuff. Then obviously it is exempt. But for schools and this ITA colleges, it is taxable. Next. So here I have mixed up all the clarifications, also given everything related to education sector. And now, sir, normally these educational boards we have discussed, no sir, these boards will provide accreditation to any institution or professional, sir. So for an accreditation fees or registration fees, what they are doing for providing that, that is not something provided to students, faculty, staff, all that stuff, so that is very much taxable under GST. That is another clarification. I repeat, boards are giving accreditation. You will be seeing on schools or any college buses and all affiliated to so and so university, accredited by so and so university or so and so board, like that. Such type of things, whatever provided, will be taxable under GST. And next, there was one more doubt here, sir, with respect to only government ITA colleges are exempt. That means providing vocational educational course approved, you told. No, that will be provided by government and that will be provided by private ITA colleges also. When it is exempt, sir, when it is provided by only government or also private. Sir, if you get this doubt, you should also get the doubt when only government schools fees is exempt, like private schools fees is taxable, like that. You should get the doubt, sir. It is not like that. Both government and private ITA colleges will enjoy the exemption. Okay, hope I am clear with this. Shall we continue? I repeat, we are done with the entry. We are going with the clarifications here and there. Next, sir, there are residential schools, sir. There we are providing lodging and boarding, sir. That means we are charging hostel fees, everything. As I told you, any service provided to students, faculty, staff is exempt. Sir, this hostel fees is also what part and parcel of their education service only. So lodging and boarding provided is a composite supply. So principal supply is education and hence it is exempt under GST. That is one clarification. Another clarification is, there is this one. Next, sir, the next clarification here, if you see, sir, it is with respect to, sir, some education institutions are providing bundled supplies, sir. That means they are providing two dual qualifications. When they are providing dual qualifications, what is the tax treatment, sir? Please understand, when they are providing dual qualification, it is nothing but, sir, for single fees they are charging. If dual qualification, dual fees, like separate invoices, separate receipts they are giving, then you will tax them accordingly. If it is exempt, it is exempt, recognized by law, all that stuff, exempt. If it is not recognized by law, it is taxable. So now, for example, if you see, sir, you are joining a degree college where they are providing BCom plus ACCA course or BCom plus CA coaching, or in schools you will be seeing nowadays school fees, and they will also providing from LKG itself, they will train in IIT coaching or NEET coaching, correct? Do you remember that? So that way, sir, school fees is separate, IIT coaching, NEET coaching is separate. Okay, but they are clubbing that. Then we have to go with composite supply or mixed supply concept. Sir, if they are charging separately, it will be taxed accordingly. But if they are, as I told, if they are charged separately, then will be assessed separately. But if they are mixing them both, they are charging one fees for both school fees and IIT coaching, both together they are saying 10 lakhs per annum. Then, sir, this is bundle but not naturally bundled, correct? So this will be treated as mixed supply. So entire package will become taxable, because school fees is generally exempt, but these coaching classes fees are taxable. So this becomes mixed supply, which attracts highest rate of tax. So it will be fully taxable. Next. Sir, in schools, they are providing any extracurricular activities, sir, like for well-being of the students, etc., etc. For example, some small music or dance classes within the school timings or college timings itself. They are nothing but treated as naturally bundled and will be treated as composite supply and hence exempt under GST. So that is another point. Next, sir, IAMs are providing some programs, sir, where they are giving certification, etc., etc., some short duration courses, all that stuff, whether we can enjoy the exemption. Then they have clarified here, if it is a long duration program, that means 1 year or more, greater than or equal to 1 year, if you are providing that, then that will be exempt. But if you are doing short duration programs where it is less than 1 year, then it will be taxable. Okay, that is another point. Next, the canteen or mess facility provided by education institution to students. Sir, if it is provided by education institution to students, faculty, staff, obviously we have seen any service by uh, educational institutions to student, faculty, staff is exempt under GST. So this is also exempt under GST. But sir, if they are outsourcing it to a different person and that fellow is running a canteen and that fellow is paying consideration to schools, then it is taxable. Or sorry, then we have to see catering services. We have seen no in purchases. If it is up to education institution 1, then it is exempt. Otherwise, it is taxable. No, sir, that canteen fellow, whoever is taking the contract, he is providing catering services and he is charging full bill to the students only, then it is taxable. That means the catering service, school only providing to students, canteen, all that, exempt. School is outsourcing it to somebody, so they are directly selling to students, then it is taxable. Now, the school is providing food, further they are buying catering services from outside fellow. So when they are buying catering services from outside fellow, sir, we have seen catering services purchased by EI1 is exempt under GST. So if it is purchased by EI2, EI3, it is taxable. Am I clear? Next, sir, education institutions will be charging this for campus placements. This IITs, IIMs, what they will do? They will charge from the companies placement fees to come and do campus interview in their colleges, all that stuff. So for that, these companies will pay placement charges and enter into the campus for doing campus recruitment or drive, whatever it is. So such charges are taxable. They are not services provided to students, faculty, staff. Okay, companies are paying consideration for the educational institution to do the campus recruitments. Next, the Maritime training institutes and their training courses are approved by DG, Director General of Shipping. So all these things are exempt under GST. Okay, because they are also educational courses only. Fine. Next, a small point. I think I have this doubt somewhere. Fine. So listen, and one more thing, I have given for purchases by educational institutions, I have given a comprehensive example here. So once pause the video and just go through this example, a very good example where I have covered all the possible scenarios, all that. So mostly, so just check this, pause the video and go with this. Next, see, there is one more point here regarding catering services, sir. For Anganwadi schools, if you remember, Anganwadi schools are also what, educational institutions. Sir, Anganwadi schools are also education institutions. So please understand, Anganwadi schools are covered as education institution because they are providing preschool education, number one. And one more thing, remember, sir, these catering services taken by education institutions, EI1 is exempt under GST. No, sir, that is exempt under GST no matter that is funded by any private NGOs or it is given by government, all these things, it doesn't matter. That means who has paid the consideration, it doesn't matter. Okay, so here, please understand, number one. So yes, as I was telling, so Anganwadi schools are covered under education institution definition EI1 because they are providing preschool education. And next one, sir, for the catering services provided to Anganwadi schools, all that, sir, under midday meal scheme program, it is funded by government. Yes, it is exempt under GST. Or it is funded by NGOs, then also it is exempt under GST. So please understand, catering services provided to EI1 is exempt under GST, even including midday meal scheme programs, okay, where the funding is done by government. Not only that, sir, if any funding is done by NGOs, that is also covered, that is also exempt under GST, because the main thing is it is catering service. Okay, so with this we are done with services related to educational sector, and of course there are small amendments that will be added, so you can just finish it off. The next one is related to healthcare services. The next category is all about, sir, healthcare services. If you see first one, sir, veterinary clinic providing services to animals or birds is exempt under GST. I gave here the star mark, the important to all the healthcare services, not that veterinary clinic point, so don't misunderstand. Now coming to the healthcare services, sir, who should be providing healthcare services, sir? Sir, clinical establishments, authorized medical practitioner, paramedics. So clinical establishments like Apollo hospitals, doctors, nurse, like lab technicians or physiotherapists, all these people, sir, they are providing their uh, services. Which service they should be providing? Healthcare service, then it is exempt under GST. Sir, what do you mean by healthcare service? Please understand, healthcare service means diagnosis, treatment or care for any illness, injury, deformity, abnormality or pregnancy in recognized system of medicine in India, then only it is exempt under GST. Please understand that. That means, sir, if you are providing anything else apart from that, then it cannot be. For example, like anything beyond this, if they are providing, it is taxable. So these are just healthcare services, and also it includes what? Services by way of transporting the patient to or from the clinical establishment. Okay, so that is what the point. And one interesting thing is, sir, it does not include hair transplantation, cosmetic and plastic surgery, except when undertaken to restore or reconstruct the anatomy or the functions of the body infected or affected due to congenital defects or development abnormalities, injury or trauma. That means, sir, because of, see, a CA student or a CA getting hair transplantation services will be taxable. But if any cosmetic plastic surgery done by actor or actresses, all that stuff, that is also taxable. But if any cosmetic surgery, hair transplantation, plastic surgery, all these things are done due to, sir, because of any developmental abnormalities, injury, trauma, all that stuff, so for restoring or reconstructing the anatomy of the body, if they are doing this, then it will be exempt under GST. Okay, so CA getting a hair transplantation, actor getting cosmetic surgery, all these things are taxable. But if you see in for example, Vikram in iMovie, or let us assume Vikram, a person who suffered injuries in fire accident, because of that they are doing some cosmetic plastic surgery, then it is exempt under GST. Please understand that. Fine. Sir, you said that treatment should be done in recognized system of medicine. No, sir. What do you mean by recognized system of medicine, sir, in India? Sir, what are recognized system of medicine in India? Sir, in India, recognized system of medicine means N Ayush. That means naturopathy, allopathy, Ayurveda, yoga, Unani, Siddha and homeopathy. So these are the recognized system of medicines. Apart from that, anything you provide, then it is taxable. Okay, and not only that, sir, what we are understanding here is regarding renting of rooms in the hospitals. Renting of rooms in the hospital, if you see the renting of rooms in the hospital, for that they have given a point there. Sir, exemption, if at all, if the rent is paid, the room charges are paid for ICU, CCU or ICCU or NICU, intensive care unit, cardiac care unit or intensive cardiac care unit or neonatal intensive care unit, for all these things, no matter how much ever room charges you charge, it is exempt under GST. But sir, other charges, normal room charges charged to the patients, if it is less than or equal to 5,000 per day, it is exempt, sir. But if it is greater than 5,000 per day, fully it is taxable. That means you are charging 5,050 rupees also, it will become fully taxable. If it is 5,000 or less than 5,000, that means less than or equal to 5,000 per day, then only it is exempt under GST. Okay, so that is with respect to providing rooms in clinical establishments. And next, the senior doctors or consultants are coming and providing various services to the hospitals. That means they are not employees of the hospital, but they are coming as a senior doctor, as a consultant, etc., providing some VVIP cases, etc., etc., they are handling, or complicated cases they are handling. They are providing services to hospitals. That is also exempt under GST, because they are also providing healthcare services. Next, sir, food supplied to inpatients, that means who are admitted in the hospitals, for them whatever the food supplied, that is also forming part of healthcare service, exempt under GST. But who are not admitted, just going to the hospital to see the doctor, to see the nurse and eat their idli sambar in the canteen and come, for them it is taxable. Okay, next, the food supplied in the canteens which are run by outsourced agencies to outsiders, all that stuff, that will be obviously taxable. Next, as I was telling, food supplied to patients not admitted or their attendants, visitors, that will be taxable. Next, sir, ambulance services are exempt. Next, transportation of patients in ambulance, as I told you already, it is exempt. Okay, no matter under what scheme, that is 108, 102, whatever it is, that ambulance service exempt, sir. Remember that, that's all. Who is providing, private or public person, government, all that stuff, it doesn't matter. Ambulance service is ambulance service, exemption is exemption. Am I clear? So that is with respect to that. And next, sir, rehabilitation professionals, sir. Rehabilitation professionals providing their services by way of rehabilitation, therapy, counseling, all that. But these things, they should be provided in medical establishments or educational institutions or rehabilitation centers set up by central government or state government or union territory or section 12 entity. It is not like I am a rehabilitation professional setting up some rehabilitation center separately in my own office or in my own street or town, whatever it is, and doing this rehabilitation counseling therapy. That will be taxable. But this rehabilitation center should be located, so this rehabilitation center should be located where? In educational institution or medical establishments or rehabilitation centers which are set up by this central government, state government or union territory or section 12 entities, then it is exempt under GST. Okay, so these are with respect to healthcare services. Next one, we are going with category 2, agriculture related services. The agriculture related services, you can understand any person to any person. So they are providing loading, unloading, packing and warehousing of rice, that is exempt under GST. Next, the loading, unloading, packing, warehousing of minor forest produce like agriculture, turmeric, honey, etc. to any person is also exempt under GST. Not only that, sir, storage or warehousing of cereals, pulses, fruits and vegetables, this is also exempt under GST. Now, the interesting point, you know already, sir, agricultural produce, sir, first of all, agriculture related activities means, sir, what is the meaning of agricultural produce? We should understand. Sir, the meaning of agricultural produce is, first of all, understand, sir, agri produce means something produced by cultivating the land, something which is produced by cultivating the land. So, by the cultivator, and there should not be any other process done on that. If that is done also, only the cultivator should do, nobody else should do. Even if cultivator is doing also, he should not make anything which makes it lose its essential or alter its essential characteristic or making it marketable in the primary market. Only he should make that process, otherwise it is not an agricultural produce. That means simple, sir. First of all, agricultural produce means should be cultivated out of land, no other person should touch it. That means nobody else should carry out any process on that. Till that, it is called as an agricultural produce. If anybody is touching or processing it also, that should be a cultivator. Cultivator also should process it in such a way to call it as still agricultural produce. First, it will not alter the essential characteristic. Number two, it is only, that process is only carried out to do that for primary market. Sell that product in primary market. That is what the concept. No, sir, for example, you are having paddy, you have cultivated paddy. Now you are taking it to the rice mill. In the rice mill, they are processing it. Who is processing? A person other than cultivator is processing. So rice cannot be called as an agriculture produce. Please understand that. That means, sir, as long as nobody else other than cultivator is touching it, it is an agricultural produce. Even if cultivator touches and it loses the essential characteristic, for example, the farmer itself is doing tomato sauce in the farmland, then he has extracted tomatoes and he's making tomato sauce in the farmland. He's making potato chips in the farmland, or he's making some jaggery in the farmland. Can you call it as an agricultural produce, or in the farmland by the cultivator only? No, no, no. Even if the cultivator is doing, it should not lose its essential characteristic. That is the key point here. Okay. So if anything is done, that means something is produced from farmland. If somebody else does some process, it is not an agricultural produce anymore. For example, if you take vegetables, sir, vegetables are harvested. After harvesting the vegetables, some other persons other than cultivator will do some waxing or pre-ripening, pre-cooling, all these type of activities. Now I cannot call this anymore as an agricultural produce because somebody else has carried out some process on that. Okay, so that is what the point. Fine, coming to the point, sir, coming to the point. Sir, agriculture related activities. So here, you know, cultivation of plants, rearing of all life forms of animals, rearing of all life forms of animals except horses. Horses will not be treated as agricultural activity. So except horses, anything you do, pisciculture, sericulture, floriculture, horticulture, forestry, rearing of pigs, cows, cattle, buffaloes, sheep, even fishes, silkworms, all that stuff, every life form except horse, okay, that will be treated as agricultural activity. And now all the agricultural operations which are directly related to production of any agricultural produce, example, cultivation, harvesting, threshing, plant protection, testing means soil testing, seed testing, all that stuff, supplying farm labor is also exempt under GST. Any process, as I already told you, carried at an agricultural farm which do not alter the essential characteristics of agricultural produce but makes it marketable only in the primary market, like tending, pruning, cutting, harvesting, drying, cleaning, trimming, sun drying, fumigating, curing, sorting, grading, cooling, bulk packing, all these things are agriculture related activities, and they are carried out at farmland, and they will not alter any essential characteristic of the agricultural produce. Please understand. So all these things are what exempt under GST, right? Coming to fumigation, here one small point, sir. Fumigation earlier, if you see, fumigation will be carried out at farmland also, at warehouse also. Earlier, if it is carried out in warehouse, there was exemption, but now there is no exemption. So fumigation in farmland is exempt, and in warehouse it is taxable. Remember that. Next, not only that, sir, if you are renting or leasing any agriculture related machinery, like along with vacant land or whatever it is, that is also exempt under GST. Not only that, sir, loading, unloading, packing, storage, warehousing of agricultural produce. That is why, see here, already there is an exemption for loading, unloading, packing, storage or warehousing of agricultural produce, but rice is not an agricultural produce, so they have given separate exemption entry. Okay, cereals, pulses, fruits and vegetables also they have given separate entry. Why? Because that is the reason, sir. If somebody else is doing something on that, it will lose the, it will not fall within the definition of agricultural produce, sir. That is the reason. Okay, next, sir, as I was telling, agricultural extension services like scientific research, farmer education or training, all these things are exempt under GST. Or any process, see, it is taxable when, sir, if it is altering the essential characteristics or making it marketable in the retail market. For that purpose, if you are doing the process, then it is taxable, sir. Okay, so that is what we have discussed here. So agricultural extension services, like, see, where it will be focusing on farmer education or training courses with Kisan centers, farm visits on farm trails, Kisan melas, Kisan clubs, advisory bulletins. Like this, they will be providing various activities and services provided by the agricultural produce marketing board or committee. Services provided by agricultural produce marketing committee or board, whose main agenda, APMCs, are set up by state governments to make sure the farmers are getting various facilities for selling their agricultural produce and also getting the minimum support price whatever is needed. So for all these things, this board has been set up. Okay, so they are providing services. So these services like facilities, amenities like sheds, water, light, electricity, grading facilities provided to farmers, all these things, sir, this is exempt under GST. But understand, guys, if any other service they are providing which are not directly related to cultivation of plants, all that stuff, and rearing of animals, will be liable to GST. That means, see, for example, here they will be renting out some shops or other properties for commercial purpose. They might be having some properties, so that they will be renting out all that stuff, sir. That is taxable, sir. That is taxable. Next, if these bodies are providing something directly related to this agricultural produce, all that stuff, then it is fine. But anything else, any commercial properties for commercial purpose, if at all anything they are renting out, that will become taxable. Next, as we have seen, processed products like tea, that is black tea, white tea also. See, if you have drank that white tea, tell me please in the comment box. Coffee beans, coffee powder, pulses, jaggery, processed spices, processed dry fruits, processed cashew nuts, all these things will fall outside the ambit of agriculture produce definition. So all these things are taxable. But sir, there are certain things like whole pulse grains, whole gram, rajma, etc. These are covered in the definition of agricultural produce. So relating to that, it is exempt. Next, not only that, sir, if any person is providing intermediate production process as job work related to cultivation of plants or rearing of animals, that is also exempt under GST. And as we have already discussed, sir, there is a clarification here. There is clarification we have already discussed, sir. Milling of paddy into rice is not an intermediate production process related to agricultural produce or cultivation of plants, all that stuff. So milling of paddy is taxable. That is what the clarification given by the department. I repeat, milling of paddy into rice as an intermediate process cannot be taken as intermediate production process related to agricultural produce, because rice is not an agricultural produce. So milling of paddy into rice is taxable. Next, artificial insemination of livestock other than horses, that is also exempt under GST. I repeat, artificial insemination of livestock is also exempt under GST other than horses. Okay, so that is what the concept. So with this, we are done with agriculture related services. So the next category, if you see, government services. In government services, what has happened, we have already discussed in RCM while discussing about RCM entries of government services. We have discussed this entry number 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, you can just go through that RCM video and again go through that. So we have already discussed government services provided to general public, everything is exempt other than A, B, C, and they are always taxable under forward charge. And for business entities, everything is taxable including ABC. And if it is a small business entity, that means whose aggregate turnover is not exceeding the threshold limit, for them any service provided by government is exempt other than this ABC. For other business entities, sir, if the consideration is less than or equal to 5,000 rupees, then it is exempt. Otherwise, all other services are taxable, like that we have discussed. So all these 6, 7, 8, 9 we have already discussed there. Now coming to the next one, sir, here the functions related to article 243W and 243G, if they are provided by governmental authority to any person, that is exempt under GST. Now please understand, here before going into the discussion, government authority and government entity, I give the meaning here, where governmental authority is nothing but set up by act in parliament or assembly or established by any government, where 90% or more, greater than or equal to 90% of stake is with government. Okay, and their main agenda is to carry out the functions entrusted to municipalities and panchayat under 243 or 243W, 243W and 243G. If it is government entity, the only difference is everything is same, but this is started to make sure to carry out any function entrusted to central government, state government, union territory or local authority. That is what governmental authority and government entity. Okay, now coming to that point, see, first of all, regarding 243G and 243W we have already seen in schedule 3, if you remember. So I'm just putting all the things related to this article 243W and 243G here. See, central government, state government, union territory, local authority undertaking the activities given, services given in 243W and 243G, it is neither SOG nor SOS. So these people are the supplier and general public are the recipient. It is neither SOG nor SOS. We have already seen in schedule 3 the notification. Next, if governmental authority is providing this to general public, so we are talking about this. That is what we are seeing exemption now. Am I clear? So governmental authority providing services which are entrusted under article 243W or 243G directly to general public, for which they are getting some minimum nominal consideration, is exempt under GST. This is one side of the story. To provide this to general public, these people are taking the help of private service providers. So these private service providers may be directly providing services to government or may be directly providing services to governmental authority. Okay, in that case also, sir, this is exempt under GST. Their services are exempt under GST. Entry 3 and 3A. Sir, whether it is 100% supply of service, it is exempt. One second. So sorry, listen here again. Sir, as I was telling, sir, government is providing services directly to general public or government authority is providing services to general public with respect to functions entrusted in article 243W or G. This concept we have already seen in schedule 3. Okay, this concept already we have seen in schedule 3. Sir, government directly to general public is neither SOG nor SOS. Okay, through notification, not schedule 3, sorry. Next, sir, governmental authority directly to general public. Governmental authority directly to general public. That is what we are seeing the entry now. Entry 4 and 5. For some nominal consideration, exempt under GST. Next, sir, any private service providers. Sir, let us assume we will be seeing some government will be outsourcing the activity of cleaning and maintaining the roads to some private entities, all that. Sir, they are providing services directly to government or governmental authority. Then also it is exempt under GST. Here, there can be a possibility where they will be providing purely services. 100% supply of services. That is also exempt. No, sir. 25% worth of goods is also involved. That is also exempt. That means the composite supply of 75% service and 25% goods. That is also exempt under GST. So 100% service is exempt and 75-25 mix is also there. That is also exempt. So you should be careful with this limit. Important, please remember. Okay, so this is with respect to 243W and 243G fully. Okay, next. Sir, government entity providing any services, sir, government entity providing any services where they are receiving consideration in the form of grants, as we have already discussed just now. Government entity is set up for mainly what purpose? To carry out something which is entrusted to central government, state government, union territory or local authority. So they are doing that functions, whatever this government is telling, they are doing this. For that, government is giving them the consideration in the form of grant. That is also exempt under GST. Next, old age homes. Old age homes, if they are operated by central government, state government or section 12A entity, for the people who are aged over 60 years or equal to 60 years, 60 or more, where consideration is 25,000 or less than or equal to 25,000 per month per member, that will be exempt under GST. Otherwise, if it is greater than 25,000, fully taxable. I repeat, old age homes run by central government, state government, section 12A entity, not any private person. Less than or equal to 25,000 per month should be the consideration. If it is greater than 25,000, it is fully taxable. Next, government giving guarantee to the banks or financial institutions for the loans taken by their public sector undertakings, all that is exempt. Next, this one is normal, providing registration or testing, calibration, safety check, exempt under GST. Issuing passport, visa, driving license, birth or death certificates to business entities is exempt under GST. Next, sir, assigning natural resources to individual farmers, that is exempt under GST. Next, sir, appointing the officers after the working hours and collecting merchant overtime charges for loading and unloading after office hours or during even holidays charged by the government, that is exempt under GST. So these are related to government services. So with respect to government services, all that, there is an example also here which I have given. So just you can pause the video and go through this example. So one is postal department services, and then the government of India, other side it is providing services to Vivad Private Limited, TCS Limited, Reliance, like this. Different combinations I have given, taxable or exempt, forward charge, reverse charge, all this stuff. This one also we have discussed all these things in RCM. Okay, so with this we are done with this government services. So if you see the next one, construction related services. Construction related services, there are 3 points actually. First, let us finish this fellow, the odd man out here. Electricity distribution utilities like Tamil Nadu Electricity Board or SPDCL, Southern Power Distribution Corporation Limited, something that way. So what they are doing, they are constructing the electricity infrastructure, up to the tube well of the farmer in his farmland. So that services they are providing to that farmer or agriculturist, it is exempt under GST. Okay, this is something different here. Coming to construction services, actually the construction what we know, please understand here that in construction services there are two things. First entry is related to, first the exemption is only for pure labor contract, not for works contract. You know, pure labor contract means only labor, works contract means both material and labor they will be providing to you. Sir, pure labor contract they are providing with respect to construction, that can be original works or non-original works. That means repairs also covered here. To any beneficiary of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana scheme. Sir, there is a person beneficiary under Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana scheme. For his house, we are doing brand new construction, erection, commissioning, installation, completion, fitting out, repair, maintenance, renovation, alteration, all these things. Sir, that is exempt under GST. Here, both actual construction is also there, repairs and renovation, that is also there. So please understand. So beneficiary of Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, both original works, non-original works, both are covered. I repeat, that means brand new construction is also there, repairs and maintenance is also there. Okay, so that is what the point. Next, sir, here another one is, sir, it is not, so that point is related to focusing on the person beneficiary Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, both original works, non-original works, only pure labor contract. Works contract is taxable. So coming to next one is focusing on single residential unit. Any person getting his single residential unit which is meant for his single family getting constructed, here only original works, that means brand new constructions, we are not talking about repairs, renovation, alteration, all that stuff. Then if they are providing pure labor contract services to any person to any person, contractor can be any person, recipient can be any person. You are constructing my villa for 10 crores, exempt under GST, only pure labor contract, because villa is my single residential unit. Okay, that is exempt. Suppose it is in residential complex apartments, taxable, sir. If it is works contract, taxable, sir. If it is alteration, repairs or renovation, taxable, sir. Only original works, that is brand new construction, only pure labor contract, only related to single residential unit, then only exemption is there. Okay, so that is what the concept. So that is with respect to construction services. Here there is a small example, you can just pause the video and go through this. So with this we are done with this particular category. Next category is, if you see, passenger transportation services. Sir, what are passenger transportation services? If you see here, sir, passenger transportation service, first we are going through, sir, if you are transporting the passengers through air in economy class, that is important. Business class is taxable, but this journey should be either starting or ending from the airports located in these states. So here just remember the standing ma'am at Bagdogra. Standing ma'am at Bagdogra is nothing but just our standing ma'am code itself, what we have used in composition scheme. There in the place of Uttarakhand, here we are bringing Assam into picture. If your journey is starting either in Sikkim, Tripura, Assam, Nagaland, Manipur, Arunachal Pradesh, Mizoram, Meghalaya, and of course Bagdogra. Bagdogra is a place located in West Bengal. In these states or in these places, if your journey is your journey is either starting or ending through airways, that too in economy class, that is exempt under GST. So Chennai to Delhi is taxable. Chennai to Delhi via Assam is also taxable. Only Chennai to Assam is exempt, or Assam to Delhi is exempt. So either starting point or ending point should be located there, and that too only economy class. Business class is taxable. Okay, now coming to here, stage carriage, contract carriage, all this stuff. So here the transportation of goods, contract carriage means you are taking entire contract on a entire carriage on a contract, sorry, entire carriage you are booking. Stage carriage means simple, you are traveling, your ticket you are buying, how much ever distance you are traveling, that much you are, for that distance you are paying the consideration. Because of revision video, I am not going into details. Okay, now coming to contract carriage, for example, your friend wedding is there, that fellow is booking a full bus to transport all the passengers. Sir, if it is AC, contract carriage or stage carriage, AC means taxable, simple. If it is non-AC, we should see the purpose. Why you are transporting? Why you are transporting the passengers? For any conducted tour, or for I am taking that contract carriage to give it on rent, charter or hire, or tourism purpose it is being operated, then it is taxable. Any other purpose, as we have discussed about the wedding. So for the wedding, we are booking the bus through e-commerce operator under 9 subsection 5 means again it is taxable. No sir, directly we are going to the bus owner and we are booking the bus, sir, then it is exempt under GST. Am I clear? Contract carriage, non-AC, non-AC, what we should see, we should see the purpose. Conducted tour, charter or hire, tourism, taxable. Other purpose, sir, if it is through e-commerce operator under section 9 subsection 5, taxable. Other cases, exempt. Okay, so that is what the concept. Next, radio taxi always taxable. Remember that radio taxi means where the taxi is connected with the central office through GPS or GPRS system. So stage carriage, sir, coming to stage carriage, AC taxable, as I already told you. So non-AC through e-commerce operator under 9 subsection 5, it is taxable. Or directly, sir, we are going to the bus operator and booking the ticket, then it is exempt. So you are traveling from Chennai to Hyderabad, non-AC bus, but you are booking that through GoIbibo, then it is taxable. No sir, directly we are going to Orange Travels, buying a ticket directly in the bus stand and traveling, non-AC, then it is exempt. That is what the concept. Okay, next, sir, same way transportation of passengers by metered cabs or auto rickshaws through e-commerce. Generally metered cabs, auto rickshaws exempt, sir, but if it is through e-commerce operator under 9 subsection 5, it is taxable. That is with respect to stage carriage, contract carriage. Next, airline operators, they are operating their aircraft from a regional connectivity scheme airport, where the consideration is paid by the central government in the form of viability gap funding, that is exempt under GST. Next, sir, as we were discussing, transportation of passenger, any person to any person, if it is through railways, only first class and AC is taxable, remaining everything is exempt, like general class, sleeper class, monorail, metro, tramway, all these things are what? Exempt. But sir, if it is waterways, inland waterways is exempt, sir, and places between India, let us assume Chennai to Andaman, for any purpose other than tourism is exempt, sir. If it is for tourism purpose, then it is taxable, sir. So imagine from one place in India to another place in India through a vessel, but if it is tourism purpose, it is taxable. If it is not for tourism, it is exempt. Hope it is clear for you. Next, sir, if it is through roadways, as I was discussing, the roadways, metered cabs, auto rickshaws are exempt, sir, including e-rickshaws, but they are done through e-commerce operator 9 subsection 5, then it is taxable. Next, sir, if you see in government services, we have seen transportation of goods and passengers exempt under GST, that was taxable if it is provided by government. But in this entry now, what happens, even though whether government is providing or private entities are providing the stage carriage, contract carriage, all these things, sir, it is, this exemption is applicable for everybody. That means whether the supplier is government or non-government, it does not matter. I repeat, we have seen transportation of goods and passengers taxable in government related services. Here in this entry specifically, we are giving exemption for everybody, whether you are a government or a private person. These conditions, if you are satisfying, it is exempt for you. Next, and why are you traveling in that vessel, for tourism purpose or not, that doesn't matter. Why that is being operated is what important, guys. So normal public ships or vessels sail between places located in India, that is exempt, even if some passengers are going for tourism purpose, because predominantly the service is not for tourism purpose. However, services provided by some leisure charter vessels or cruise ships, predominantly the purpose is tourism, that is taxable. Okay, so that is what the point. Next, contract carriage, stage carriage, metered cab, all the definitions I have given, that's all. So that is what the concept of transportation of passengers. So the next one is with respect to goods transportation services. See, for goods transportation services, if you see here, uh, goods transportation services, two things. One, how you are transporting based on that exemption is given, and next, what you are transporting based on that exemption is given. Sir, how you are transporting, sir? Sir, I am transporting through roadways. Sir, if you are transporting through roadways, it is exempt under GST, except it is provided by GTA and courier agency. That means GTA and courier agency is taxable. Individual truck drivers, all that stuff, it is exempt. Majority cases, GTA courier agency only will do so. That is why it is taxable. Okay, other cases it is exempt. Sir, no, sir, I am transporting through inland waterways, sir. Then also it is exempt. So this is how the exemption is there. That means you are transporting through airways, they have not spoken anything. That means it is taxable. You are transporting the goods through railways, nothing given here. So it is taxable. Okay. Now, sir, the point is, even though you are transporting through rail, vessel or goods, okay, sir, if you are transporting agricultural produce, milk, salt, food grains, flours, pulses, rice, organic manure, relief materials for natural or man-made disasters, or defense or military equipments, newspapers and magazines, these things if you are carrying, then it is exempt. So generally, if you are transporting goods through railways, vessels or GTA, goods carriages or courier agency, it is taxable. But these goods, if you are transporting, sir, these goods, it is exempt under GST. That is what the point I told you, how you are transporting and what you are transporting. Okay, fine. So here, what do you mean by GTA? Sir, GTA means, here they have given a definition, we have discussed in RCM also. Services in relation to transporting the goods, any person providing by road and issuing consignment note. Here the word they have used is services in relation to transporting the goods. That means not only just transporting the goods, sir, but also various intermediary services, and auxiliary services which are provided, like what, if you see here, here there should be given somewhere, loading, unloading, packing, unpacking, transshipment, temporary warehousing, all these things are forming part of in relation to services. So these services are also provided by GTA. Still it is called as GTA because these are provided in connection with transporting the goods. Okay, next 21A, 21B regarding GTA, we have already discussed in RCM. GTA is having three types of customers. One is who are specified recipients, who are other than specified recipients, and section 51 entities. If you remember, there, sir, these two people who are not specified in RCM, exempt under GST, for them GTA is providing services. No, sir, GTA is providing services to people who are registered under GST just to comply with the section 51 provisions. Okay, then also it is exempt under GST. The same discussion we have already done in RCM entry also. So the next one is legal services. If you see, sir, arbitral tribunal or senior advocate or individual advocate or firm of advocates providing their legal services to any person other than a business entity, like individuals, all that exempt under GST, or to a business entity whose aggregate turnover is not exceeding the threshold limit for registration. That means small business entities, as we are discussing, small bet, sir, they are not even liable for registration, sir. That much less turnover they are doing, not exceeding 10, 20, 40 lakhs. Next, sir, if they are providing their services to central government, state government, union territory, local authority, governmental entity or government entity, sorry, governmental authority or government entity. So there should be here governmental authority. Okay, yes. So then that is exempt under GST. For that purpose, I have given a comprehensive example here. And one more thing here, sir, individual advocates or firm of advocates providing legal services to another advocate or firm of advocates, that is exempt under GST. I will show you the example here. So look at this. So here, first of all, let us see this. You just focus on this first. Pause the video and just understand here. Sir, Jolly LLB, an individual advocate providing legal services to Imran Hashmi and same Sonu Sudan Co charitable organization registered under GST. Aggregate turnover in preceding financial year is exceeding the threshold limit. Pushparaj exports and imports, sole proprietor not liable for registration. Aggregate turnover in preceding financial year not exceeding the threshold limit. To central government, to another form of advocates, or see here, the only thing what I want to highlight is senior advocate providing services to another advocate or firm of advocates, they cannot enjoy the exemption. But the only thing is, we can see, sir, whether this other individual advocate or firm of advocates, what is their aggregate turnover? Their aggregate turnover is exceeding the threshold limit. Now automatically it is taxable and coming under RCM. Okay, hope you understand that. I repeat, advocate to advocate is generally exempt, but that exemption is not available if senior advocate is providing those services. Okay, for senior advocate, even advocates and firm of advocates are nothing but another business entity only. So if their aggregate turnover is exceeding the threshold limit, that will be taxable, otherwise it will be exempt under GST. Okay, so this is important for you, right? Hope it is clear. So this is what all about legal services. Next one, a very important entry, sir, performance by an artist. Sir, any artist in folk or classical, of music, dance, theater, that means here western, all this stuff are not covered, sir. Here only see western music or dance or modern theaters performances or actors in films and television serials, all these things are not involved. Only in folk or classical form of music, dance and theater. Okay, so painting, sculpture making, all these things again will become taxable. Exemption is only for what? Exemption is only for music, dance and theater, that too only in the form of folk or classical, not anything else. So here you should be an artist. For example, you are a Bharatanatyam dancer, classical dancer, you are going and performing on stage. For that you are charging a consideration, we are talking about that. So that consideration, if it is less than or equal to 1,50,000 per performance, it is exempt under GST. Hope it is clear for you. Sir, if it is greater than 1,50,000, it is fully taxable, simple. Okay, next, sir, if you are acting as a brand ambassador, sir, you are a Bharatanatyam dancer coming and advertising him like Fortune Sunflower Oil or Freedom Sunflower Oil, all that stuff, that will be taxable. Brand ambassador services are taxable no matter whatever is the consideration. But if you are performing, for that you are taking consideration less than or equal to 1,50,000, then it is exempt under GST. So a very, very important entry, please remember. Right, continuing with the next chapter, exemptions. See, the amendments, see, there are some exemptions which are newly added, some exemptions which are clarified or modified, all the stuff. So we'll see first new entries under CGST Act, whatever the entries have been added. First of all, certain small things are there, not that greatly what difficult, etc, etc. Of course, you know, even if it is difficult, I will make it easy for you. The Ministry of Railways, that is Indian Railways, they are providing services by way of selling the platform tickets, facility of providing retiring rooms or waiting rooms in the stations, clock room services, or battery operated car services to travel in the platform, all that stuff you will be seeing. Sir, all these things, further they are charging some consideration, nominal consideration from the passengers, that is exempt under GST. So this is the first entry. Next, one zone or division of Indian Railways to another zone or division of Indian Railways. See, for example, there is South Central Railway. This is a zone. They are providing services to Southern Railways. This is another zone, exempt under GST. And again in railways, there will be in this zone, within the zone, again there will be divisions. For example, there is a division called Guntakal division in Andhra Pradesh. They are providing services to Nanded division in Maharashtra somewhere, I guess. So there is another division in railways. So one division to another division, one zone to another zone. For that, if they are providing any services, Indian Railways, it is exempt under GST. There is another one. Next, special purpose vehicles. Now please understand, here I will just tell you, I will simplify this for you. For special purpose vehicles, certain people, certain entities will get a contract from Indian Railways where they construct the infrastructure for Indian Railways. So for constructing the infrastructure, they will not get any consideration. They will maintain the infrastructure. From that, they will just generate a revenue, all the stuff by way of selling the platform tickets, etc., etc., whatever it is. So they will construct the railway stations or any infrastructure for that matter. During the concessionary period, that means maybe 15 years, 17 years kind of thing. So during that period, that infrastructure will be owned by that special purpose vehicle itself. Now, during that period, please understand, special purpose vehicle is the owner of that infrastructure. Indian Railways is using that infrastructure, right? So for using the infrastructure, Indian Railways should pay consideration to special purpose vehicles. That means, I repeat, sir, special purpose vehicles are constructing infrastructure for railways. But during the concessionary period, that means for 15 to 17 years, the property will be in the name of special purpose vehicle only. So special purpose vehicles are allowing Indian Railways to use that infrastructure. In return, as consideration, what they are paying some monetary consideration, as well as they are paying consideration in the form of maintenance of that particular railway station, as an example, or that infrastructure, whatever has been constructed by that SPV. So now please understand, special purpose vehicles are constructing infrastructure, allowing Indian Railways to use that infrastructure. But that in return, Indian Railways is paying some consideration, as well as taking care of the maintenance of that infrastructure, cleaning, etc., etc., whatever the maintenance they are taking care, Indian Railways. So Indian Railways is paying consideration in the form of consideration of like maybe monetary consideration, as well as maintenance of that infrastructure. This service is exempt under GST. Okay. So simple. What is that service here? Allowing Indian Railways to use the infrastructure built and owned by special purpose vehicles during the concession period, against the consideration of what? Against the consideration and services of maintenance supplied by Indian Railways to special purpose vehicles in relation to the said infrastructure which is built and owned by SPVs during the concession period. Okay, so that is what the concept that is exempt under GST. Now another interesting one, this is for you people, for students mainly. Okay, sir, any person providing accommodation services to any person, but here the point is the value of supply should be less than or equal to 20,000 per person, and very important thing is that the stay period should be minimum 90 days. That means it should be greater than or equal to 90 days stay, continuous stay of 90 days. For that, if you are paying the rent, then it is exempt under GST. That means we are talking about mainly here hostels or any PGs, whatever you call paying guest houses, etc. etc. So to just bring a clarity in law with respect to this entry, in entry number 12 regarding renting of residential property for residential purpose is exempt under GST. In that they have added a point saying that renting of residential properties exemption is not available to students in student residences or hostels, camps, paying guests and the like areas. So you should come to 12A only, this entry only. Okay, hence exemption under 12A comes into play. So renting of residential premises for residential purpose is exempt, but that is not applicable for any places where students or working professionals etc are staying. So for you people, come to entry 12A where I am giving exemption where you are paying your hostel fees etc PG fees less than or equal to 20,000 per month na exempt under GST, but only condition is you should be staying there for minimum 90 days. That means your stay should be greater than or equal to 90 days and rent should be less than or equal to 20,000 per person per month. Then you can enjoy the exemption. So this is a good news for students and the benefit for students. That is what the next point. But the interesting part here is hostels, what they did, even though GST is exempted, they have compensated with by increasing the hostel rent so that students are not getting benefit. If you are not getting that benefit, you can just complain to GST department also by March 31st, taking anti-profiteering clause into picture. Okay, so fine, coming to the next one, sir, 25A. So if you see 25A, this is nothing but electricity transmission and distribution utilities. Sir, electricity transmission and distribution utilities, they are providing services by way of transmitting or distribution of electricity. If you see, there is an exemption for that. And earlier, if they are providing any metering equipments on rent, or if they are coming and testing the meters, transformers, capacitors, releasing electricity connection, if that has been kept on hold because you have not made the payment, all that stuff, and later on you made the payment and they are releasing the connection, labor charges for shifting the meters, service lines, or issuing the duplicate bills. Point number 5, issuing the duplicate bills etc. All these things were earlier taxable. Now they made a new entry giving exemption to these things, so these are also exempt now. So please remember it. So electricity distribution, transmission and distribution utilities providing these services are now exempt under GST. Okay, so that is next entry. Coming to another entry, see, the next entry is generally any person, generally this will be seeing in PG colleges or PhD colleges where students are doing research etc etc. Sir, for the research and development what they are doing, they will get consideration in the form of grants. Government entities or research association in the university, college or other notified institutions, they will be providing grants to people for carrying out research and development services. Those grants are exempt under GST. Am I clear? That is what the point. So you are doing research and development for what? For the purpose of research and development, yes, the government entity or any universities or colleges are providing you grants which are notified under section 35 subsection 1 clause 2 and 3 of Income Tax Act. Sir, the consideration is paid in the form of grants, that is exempt under GST because you are doing research and development. So that is what the case. Here recipient is technically speaking not applicable, that situation will not come. Next, entry 66A, a new one. If you see in educational services, they have added central and state educational boards or councils or any other similar bodies providing services by way of affiliation. Understand here, this is only for the schools, not for colleges. So services of providing any affiliation for any schools which are established or owned or controlled by central government, state government, union territory, local authority or governmental authority or government entity, not even for private people. For government, simple words, for government schools, if we are providing any affiliation services, who are providing this CBSE or state boards, if they are providing any affiliation services, then it is exempt under GST, for which they are charging a consideration. It is exempt under GST. And there are various clarifications also added in this educational sector, where I am discussing them here itself. Okay, see, EGCA is approving flying training organizations and flying training courses, and after course is completed, the certificates are successfully granted to the students in accordance with the Aircraft Act 1934. Of course, now they are replacing this act with a new act. That's a different story, let us not worry about that. So this flying training courses, whatever are provided, if you understand, by FTOs, that is flying training organizations, are nothing but the educational services which are provided as part of curriculum, which is to obtain a recognized qualification by Indian law. So they have clarified that the services provided by these people are exempt under GST. Okay, so if they are provided by the education institution, yes, because as they are provided by the education institution for obtaining a qualification recognized by the law. So as we have discussed this. Next, it is clarified by CBIC that affiliation services by central government, state government educational boards are not covered within the ambit of exemptions provided to educational institutions, hence they are taxable. Same services to government schools are exempt. Just now we have discussed, sir, affiliation services provided by CBSE, state boards, etc., to schools are not covered within the ambit of exemption provided to educational institutions, hence taxable. Same service. See, that means I can say this affiliation services provided to government schools, they are exempt, but if they are provided to others, obviously taxable. That's all simple. Okay, so that is what the concept. Next, again, the affiliation services provided by universities to their constituent colleges are also not covered within the ambit of these exemptions, hence that is also taxable. Sometimes like you will be seeing on college buses, etc., affiliated to so and so university, like that. So for that, affiliation provided by universities here, it is not CBSE or state boards, and it is not government schools. Affiliation services provided by central or state boards or the related things to government schools only exempt, not any other things. Government schools in the sense, as I told you, that the school should be owned or established or controlled by central government, state government, union territory, local authority, governmental authority, or government entity. Hope it is clear for you. So, sir, you are talking about affiliation here. See, now the point is the affiliation activity monitors institutions' infrastructure, technical prowess, financial liquidity, faculty strength to ensure it can conduct courses for students enrolled in a university degree or title. However, these services are not related to student admission or examination conducted by the institution, hence they are not enjoying the exemption. Simple. They give just what through affiliation universities or these boards will do. They will monitor the infrastructure or the faculty strength, etc., how the college is, whether they are able to deliver the they are able to deliver the courses or not. All that stuff they will be monitoring. Okay, fine. So we have understood affiliation exempt only if it is by central board or state board or other similar boards to government schools. That's all. Any all other cases it is taxable. Okay, so that is what with respect to new entries under PGST Act. So the next one is related to the clarification. The loan granted by related person or overseas affiliates to an Indian entity. See, generally, when banks or financial institutions or NBFCs are giving loans to any lenders, sorry, the borrowers. Okay, to the borrowers. To borrowers, sorry, right? So when they are granting the loan, just to understand the credit capacity, the repayment capacity of the borrower, what they'll do, they will just process the application, all that stuff, etc. So they will charge, after issuing the loan, they will charge loan processing fees, documentation charges, etc. And generally they are taxable. You know, interest on loan is exempt except credit card interest, but the loan processing fees, documentation charges, all these things are taxable. So here the doubt is, sir, when related person or overseas affiliate is providing loan to the Indian entities, sir, because they know each other, they are related person, or my own foreign affiliate is there or foreign entity is there in abroad, and they are granting loan to me, and I will be repaying to them. We understand whether there will be a situation where they will assess my repayment capacity or my credit analysis, all that stuff they will do. So all these documentation charges, loan processing, etc. will not come into picture here, so they will not charge it. Now the doubt is, sir, should it be considered as supply without consideration? Loan processing fees is not charged. That means it is free. So supply without consideration. So schedule 1, para 2 and 4, can I trigger and can I charge GST on this? Like that the doubt was there. So please understand, these related persons will not charge processing fees from the other fellow because they know about them everything. So there won't be such processing activity or administration things which makes them to charge consideration. So you cannot treat both the transactions as same. They are not standing on equal footing, and the department has clarified. So this is not something same like other financial institution lending loans to the borrowers, all the stuff. So processing fees will not be charged and it need not be charged also. Here you cannot bring schedule 1 into picture. You cannot call it as supply. It cannot be treated as supply. So not treated as a supply. So this is not a supply. So hence no GST. That is what the concept, right? So this is the next clarification. So the notes is clearly given here. You can just go through this. So the next one, if you see the clarification regarding this, what is this clarification all about? Now this is all about, sir, Municipal Corporation of Delhi. Municipal Corporation of Delhi, what it is doing? Now it is receiving various services such as housekeeping, civil maintenance, furniture maintenance, and horticulture from Facility Management Agency. Now the point is, sir, there is something called entry 3A in exemptions, which says any person providing services which are entrusted to panchayat or municipalities under Article 243G or 243W, provided to central government, state government, union territory, local authority, or government department, it is exempt under GST. Any person providing services entrusted to panchayat, municipality under 243W, 243G to government or governmental authority, government department, local authority, all that exempt under GST. Now the doubt is, can this Municipal Corporation of Delhi can claim this exemption? Was the doubt. Can claim exemption of the services provided by this facility management agency? Was the doubt. Understand, this Municipal Corporation of Delhi is taking the services of housekeeping, civil maintenance, furniture maintenance, horticulture, all these things. These services are not something which are entrusted to municipality or panchayats. They will not come under entry 3A. So it is very much taxable. That is what the clarification here. So the services provided by this facility management, such as housekeeping, civil maintenance, furniture maintenance, all are not supplied in relation to performing any functions entrusted to municipality. Okay. So they cannot claim exemption under entry 3A. So they are very much taxable under GST. That is what the clarification. So the first service covered under reverse charge mechanism is goods transport agency services. Please understand, when you are going with reverse charge mechanism, we should keep in mind 3 points always. Number 1, who is the supplier, who is the recipient, what is the nature of supply. If you are clear with these 3 things, and automatically the answer will be correct, because any changes here and there in supplier, recipient and nature of supply, if the law is getting violated here, then automatically it will fall under forward charge. So whatever are given here in this notification, if all the conditions are satisfied, then it is reverse charge mechanism. Otherwise, if even one condition is not satisfied, it will go with forward charge. Coming to GTA, what are the conditions? Who should be the supplier? Supplier should be a goods transport agency, and they should be transporting the goods by road. And here the triggering point or the interesting point is the recipient. If it is provided, see, in this particular entry, I am dividing the customers of GTA fully into 3 categories. One is those customers, those recipients who are given in section 9 subsection 3, and next other recipients, and next finally those people who got registered under GST under section 51. Just to comply section 51 purpose, they have registered under GST. For those people, GT is providing their services. So now, as I told you already, if the recipients are specified under this particular notification, who are specified under this notification? If GT is providing the services to these people, the factory registered under Factories Act, society registered under Societies Act, cooperative under Cooperative Societies Act, any person registered under GST or a body corporate, partnership firm plus AOP, whether registered or not, association of persons. Okay, and finally casual taxable person registered. These people, see, understand, everybody here are registered under some or the other law except this partnership firm and association of persons, whether registered or not. These people are the recipients, and GTA is providing services of transporting goods by road to them. Then who is having the liability to pay GST? The recipients are having the liability to pay GST. So these people are supposed to pay tax under RCM at 5%. Okay, here the interesting things are, see, now for example, Vishnu's GTA is providing services of transporting gold, the goods, to KGF factory. KGF factory is liable to pay GST on that under reverse charge mechanism, and being recipient there, KGF factory can take ITC of it. That means, understand, even though you buy something which is covered under RCM, yes, you have the responsibility to pay tax to the government, but you can still avail that amount as ITC, no need to worry. So you have a purchase, whether it is FCM or RCM, you can take ITC happily. The problem is not for you, the problem is for GTA. That is, sir, any person who is making RCM supplies, for him, sir, whatever the purchases he is making, he cannot take ITC because his sales are covered under reverse charge mechanism. So on his purchases, he cannot take ITC. That is very important point you should remember. So here, this logic is applicable for all the RCM transactions. If I am selling something under RCM, for selling that, if I buy something, I cannot take ITC. Okay, but my customer who is buying that goods or services from me under RCM, my customer can happily take ITC. That's not a problem here. So in this example also, as I was telling, sir, KGF gold mine factory buying the GTA services covered under RCM, that amount whatever they pay under GST, they can take as ITC. But the problem is, to provide these services, if GTA purchases a lorry, GTA takes some premises on rent and pays GST, on all those purchases GTA cannot take ITC. Why? Because GTA is supplying something which is covered under RCM. Not only GTA, anybody for that matter supplying something covered under RCM, they cannot take ITC on their purchases. Am I clear? So this is the interesting point here. Now, sir, what do you mean by casual taxable person? As you know, casual taxable person is a person who doesn't have fixed place of business in the state from which he is making the supplies. Okay, so yes, coming to this GTA services, as I told, specified recipients, yes, if specified recipients are receiving the supply, then it is taxable under RCM at 5% rate. But here one option is given to GTA, that is GTA wants to decide it under FCM, they can go with FCM. And if they are going with FCM, they should charge GST 12% from the customer and collect it from the recipient and pay it to the government. Here the interesting point is GTA now is providing FCM supplies, That means that sales are covered under FCM. So automatically whatever they are purchasing, they can take ITC on that. Are you clear? So GTA has two options. General option is not FCM for GTA. General option is RCM. If GTA wants to convert it into FCM, GTA has to take registration and has to raise invoice to the customer with 12% rate and has to charge 12% GST from the customer and pay it to the government. And now GTA is buying a lorry, GTA is taking any premises on rent, etc. Whatever the purchases are there, GTA can take ITC. That is the first set of customers about. To anybody else, if GTA is providing services, for example, individuals who are not registered under GST. For example, you are traveling, like you are in a hostel, vacating the hostel after your exams and going to your native, booking your luggage in the GTA, paying consideration. Is it coming under RCM? Leave about RCM, sir. It is exempt under GST, so there is no question of RCM or FCM. Not only that, sir, if GTA is providing services to the government departments, local authorities, government boards, authorities, which are covered under section 51, they are taking registration under GST, not because they are doing some business, because they have to comply with section 51, they are taking registration under section 51. For those people, if GTA is providing services, then that is also exempt under GST. No RCM, no FCM. That means, see, I am dividing the entire set of customers of GTA into three categories. One is specified recipients, taxable under RCM first, then if GTA wants, they can convert into FCM. But option 1's exercise, that cannot be reversed in the entire financial year. So only financial year wise they have to exercise this option. This is number 1. Number 2, other than specified recipients, and number 3, section 51 entities. For our understanding, for our discussion, let us call them as section 51 entities who got registered just for the purpose of complying section 51. With those people, if GTA is providing services, then these two categories is exempt under GST. They are not coming under RCM or FCM because it is exempt under GST. So that is what GTA transaction all about. Here there is an example. You can just go with this example as well. The next entry is legal services. Legal services, individual advocate or firm of advocates or a senior advocate providing legal services to any business entity. That is very important. Business entity means, generally we understand, when we listen about the word business entity, we feel like, sir, only companies, corporates, big factories. Not only that, even the individual, the sole proprietors doing business are also called as business entities. So please be clear with that. So individual advocate, senior advocate or firm of advocates providing legal services to business entity located in India, no matter whether they are like partnership firm, body corporate, all that stuff. It should be a business entity. Business entity means even individuals doing business, sole proprietors are also business entity. Another important thing is legal services means just not only going and representing in the court, but also the legal advisory services in any branch of law is called legal services. So that is what the point. And here parallelly I will be teaching you exemption also with respect to legal services. If you remember, legal services are provided to these business entities, then it is taxable. But if they are provided to any person other than business entity, like let us assume for example, Jolly LLB senior advocate is providing a divorce case related services to Mr. Imran Hashmi, an individual. He is not a business entity because marrying and giving divorce is not his business. So this is not taxable under GST at all. It is exempt. So no RCM, no FCM. If you recollect the exemptions, legal services provided to person other than business entity exempt under GST, to a business entity whose aggregate turnover not exceeding the threshold limit for registration. So we will be calling them as small business entities. What do you mean by small business entity? There is no such word called small business entity in the law. This is just for our understanding. Small business entity means the business entity whose aggregate turnover is not exceeding the threshold limits for registration under section 22. It means 10 lakh, 20 lakh, 40 lakhs, that much also they are not doing. For such business entities, if you provide legal services also exempt under GST, any other business entity, that means all other big business entities who are liable for registration as per section 22, crossing the threshold limits, all that stuff. So for them, if you provide, it is taxable under GST and taxable under reverse charge. That means those business entities only liable to pay GST. This is with respect to legal services. And the same point regarding arbitral tribunal also same logic. If you remember, exemptions with respect to arbitral tribunal and advocate services are same to same. Arbitral tribunal also equally, whatever we have discussed for legal services, equally applicable for arbitral tribunal services as well. So they are providing services to business entity, small business entity exempt, other than business entity exempt. For other business entities like whose aggregate turnover exceeding threshold limit, taxable under reverse charge mechanism. Next amendment, if you see, regarding sponsorship services in RCM. RCM, you know, sponsorship services, any person providing sponsorship services to any person who is a body corporate or a partnership firm, it is coming under RCM. That means supplier can be any person, recipient should be body corporate or a partnership. Now they have amended the condition in such a way, supplier should be any person other than a body corporate. That means if the supplier is body corporate, automatically FCM. Okay, I'll just show you a small example here, small notes. Look at this. You know, supplier is a body corporate, recipient is a body corporate or a partnership firm. Then what is it, RCM or FCM? You tell me. You just comment the answers in the chat box here before me discussing the answers. Just pause the video and do it. Pause the video and do it. Right. So you know, sir, supplier is body corporate. Now, in this both cases, automatically FCM, sir. No matter what, who is the recipient. Straight away, because other than body corporate. So straight away what? FCM. Next, if you see, supplier is non-body corporate, recipient is body corporate or partnership firm. So all the conditions are satisfied. You know the conditions are what? Supplier should be non-body corporate, recipient should be body corporate or a partnership firm. So then only RCM. Next case, if you see, supplier is non-body corporate, condition is satisfied, but recipient is others, not a body corporate, not a partnership firm, then automatically that is FCM. That means to bring RCM into picture for sponsorship services, understand supplier should be definitely a body corporate, recipient should be supplier should be any person other than a body corporate, supplier should be any person other than a body corporate, recipient should be body corporate or a partnership firm. So only in this case RCM will come into picture. Remaining all cases it is FCM. And one more small point is, you know, sponsorship services means the sponsor is the recipient, not the supplier. The person who is giving sponsor is the recipient. We are going to advertise his name, advertise his brand. That is what sponsorship service is all about. So please be careful with that. Okay, that is the another entry. So RCM amendment. If you see the next one, again another amendment in RCM entry only with respect to renting of commercial properties. Okay, sir, with respect to renting of commercial property, you know, renting of commercial property is taxable only. But if the supplier is unregistered person, recipient is registered person. Recipient is registered person other than who has opted for composition scheme. Earlier, this other than who has opted for composition scheme was not there. Now through amendment they have added this. So what is the impact of this? If you ask me, I will show you again here. See, renting of commercial property. Supplier should be unregistered person, recipient should be registered person not opting composition scheme, then only RCM. Remaining all cases FCM. So you just pause the video and see what is this and comment the answers in the video, like give me in the comment box. Pause the video and you try. Okay, so here first case is satisfying the condition. Supplier is unregistered person, recipient is registered person. So this is RCM. But remaining cases, if you see, supplier is unregistered person but recipient has opted for CS, means composition scheme. That means FCM only will come. Remaining all cases, FCM, FCM. Correct? Registered person straight away FCM. So if you see, in these two cases, second case and third case, you will get a doubt. Sir, if supplier is unregistered person, you are saying FCM, who will pay GST? Nobody will pay GST. Okay, that means it is taxable, but there is no person who is there to collect that and give to the government. Okay, it is just like drinking tea is taxable, but if you are drinking tea in a hi-fi restaurant, but if you are drinking tea in a roadside restaurant, roadside tea stall, sir, it is taxable, but there is no person to collect GST and give to the department. So this second case and third case is like drinking tea in a roadside tea stall. Okay, first case, of course, roadside tea stall only, but a registered person is going and drinking, so RCM. So fourth case is like drinking tea in Taj Hotel. Okay, so that is what the point. Hope it is clear for you. Very simple amendment. Please be very careful. Good chances of being tested as an amendment or like adjustment in the problem or a separate case study based question also. The next entry is with respect to entry 5AA. So entry 5AA is with respect to renting the residential property. See, renting the residential property for residential purpose, it is exempt under GST. But people are taking residential property on rent and using it for commercial purpose. So in such cases, that is taxable. So in such cases, if the recipient is registered, then the renting of that residential property for commercial purpose will become taxable under RCM. If the recipient is unregistered, then it is taxable under FCM. So simple, residential property for residential purpose exempt under GST, but residential property for commercial purpose, business purpose, taxable. Recipient is registered now, the tenant, then it is RCM. If not registered, then it is FCM. That is what the point. Okay, so this is entry 5AA. The next one, services provided by director of a company coming under reverse charge mechanism. So the recipient, that is the body corporate, is liable to pay GST under RCM. Here the important point is that director should not be employee of the company. If the director is employee of the company, already it is covered under schedule 3, so there is no GST at all. So if the director is not an employee, then automatically his services are covered under reverse charge mechanism. It is a supply taxable and they are covered under reverse charge mechanism. Sir, how do I identify whether the director is an employee or not? Based upon the TDS what the company is deducting from his remuneration. TDS under section 192, then he is an employee, no GST at all, no RCM, no FCM. If the TDS is under section 194J, then it is supply and it is subjected to RCM. But here the interesting thing is, please understand that only when the services provided by him in the capacity of director, for that he is getting remuneration, then only this RCM comes into picture. Any other services he is providing in his personal capacity to the company, then we should see that independently. We should not bring that here. So I am a director of a company. Whatever the services I give to the company in the capacity of a director, then only RCM will come into picture. Sir, whatever I am doing in my independent capacity, individual capacity separately, not as the director of the company, providing some goods or some services to the company, then we should assess that case independently. We should not bring that here. So this is another important point. And one more interesting thing here is, when we talk about director, we understand what are the possibilities with respect to director services. The director services, director may be treated as an employee. How do we understand that? TDS under section 192, so neither SOG nor SOS, no GST implication at all. But if director is not treated as an employee, section 194J, in such cases, if he is a director of a body established by central government, state government or local authority, as we have seen in schedule 3, that again neither supply of good nor supply of service, no GST, no RCM, no FCM. In any other case, then only RCM comes into picture. Hope it is clear for you. For example, you are an independent director of BSNL company, no GST, no RCM, no FCM. But if you are an independent director of a TCS company, then it is RCM. Clear? So that is what with respect to director services, which you should be careful about. Okay. Next, services provided by insurance agent to insurance company. The insurance company is liable to pay GST. The services provided by a recovery agent to a banking company, financial institutions and NBFCs. The banking company, financial institutions and NBFCs are liable to pay GST. The same way, a music composer or a photographer or artist providing their services. What is the service they are providing? Now, please understand, they are allowing somebody to use their copyright which they got registered under section 13(1)(a) of Original Copyright Act 1957. So the point is, somebody is allowing, this music composer, photographer, or artist is allowing somebody to use their copyright for which they are getting the royalty. On that, who is liable to pay GST? That particular music company or producer is liable to pay GST. Okay, so I repeat, the important point here is allowing somebody to use the copyright. That is what the point. And the same logic applies to author also in entry 9A. So author is allowing somebody to use his copyright on the book. For example, I wrote a book, for example, how to pass CA in 30 days, and I am transferring this right to publish to the Boys Publishers, a publishing company. Who is liable to pay GST on the royalty? The Boys Publishers. The publishing house is liable to pay GST on that under RCM. The only difference here we are going to see is, just like in GTA, here also for author we are giving an option. What is the option? Na? If the author wants to make this under FCM, he can make it under FCM. Generally, the author allowing somebody to use his copyright, that is the publishing house. Obviously, publishing house is liable to pay GST. But if the author wants to make it under FCM, he can make it under FCM. So he can take GST registration and collect GST and pay GST to the department under forward charge mechanism. But once the option is exercised, it will be valid for the entire financial year. So that is what the concept. For music composer, photographer, or artist, that FCM option is not there. Only for author, that FCM option is available. Next, the services provided by the members of overseeing committee appointed by RBI. The RBI is liable to pay GST. Next, individual direct selling agents. What do you mean by individual direct selling agents? Who are selling the products of the banks, like loans, deposits, etc., for which they are providing their services to banking companies and NBFCs, and they are paying commission to that individual direct selling agents. Here, please understand, direct selling agent license you can get as an individual or a partnership firm or a body corporate, whatever it is. But here, only when in the supplier the direct selling agent is an individual, then only RCM provisions will come into picture. Otherwise, RCM provisions will not come into picture for partnership firm or a body corporate kind of direct selling agents. Hope it is clear for you. Next, the business facilitator and business correspondent. See, business facilitator and business correspondent related to banking sector. Just remember the technical words. Let us not worry about their in-depth meaning. Business facilitator providing services to a banking company. Banking company is liable to pay GST. But business correspondent providing services to banking company, it is not covered under reverse charge mechanism. It is under forward charge. So then what is covered under reverse charge? What is covered under reverse charge? Now, agent of business correspondent to business correspondent is covered under reverse charge. Now see, for example, here what happens is, the business facilitator providing services to bank, that is covered under RCM. And one more thing, agent of business correspondent to business correspondent is covered under RCM. But sir, if agent of business facilitator is providing services to business facilitator, or business correspondent is providing services to bank, both these things are covered under FCM only. So in RCM only these entries are covered. Okay, for your clarity, I have discussed these things also here in this particular diagram. Hope it is clear for you. So I repeat, services provided by business facilitator to bank, RCM. Agent of business facilitator to business facilitator, FCM. Same way, business correspondent to bank, FCM. Agent of business correspondent to business correspondent, RCM. So that is what entry number 12 and 13. So the next one is security services. Security services provided by any person other than a body corporate. That is important. That means non-body corporate is providing security services. Security services means supplying the security personnel to whom any person registered under GST, individual, HUF, partnership firm, body corporate or not, all that stuff irrelevant. For us, it is person registered under GST who is not opting composition scheme. That's all. Then it is RCM. So now, if the recipient is unregistered fellow, FCM. Sir, if the recipient is registered, RCM. If the recipient is registered but under composition scheme, FCM. Sir, if the recipient is registered but registered for the purpose of section 51, that is also FCM. So please understand, RCM is not applicable when if you are providing services to a registered person, if he is a composition dealer, or if you are providing services, the security services, supplying the manpower, sir, to a recipient who is registered under composition scheme, or to a recipient who is registered just for the purpose of complying section 51 provisions. You know this, government department, local authorities, all that. In that case also it is FCM. For this purpose I gave an example number 41 or whatever the number may be changing here and there, but just don't worry about the numbering. So this is what the example, you can just go through this. So that is what the concept of supply of security services. The next one, the interesting entry, renting of motor vehicle to a body corporate by any person other than a body corporate along with the cost of fuel included in that. So renting of motor vehicle with the cost of fuel by any person other than body corporate to a body corporate coming under RCM. Here the interesting part is, see, generally when we are providing RCM supplies, we cannot take ITC. But in this case, these people can take ITC even though they are providing supply covered under RCM at 5%. But that ITC is limited. What is that limited ITC? Na? They can take ITC only of the same line of business. That means I am renting a motor vehicle to a body corporate. I am non-body corporate. I am renting a motor vehicle to a non-body to a body corporate, and that is covered under RCM. So now recipient is liable to pay GST. The body corporate is liable to pay GST at 5%. For me, generally ITC will not come, but in this case, I will get ITC on only one purchase, that is same line of business. What do you mean by same line of business? Sir, when I receive another motor vehicle on rent, then I can take ITC on that, whatever the GST I pay to the supplier. Now see, for example, see, Mr. Vin Diesel is renting a motor vehicle to me. So I am Optimus Prime, Mr. Optimus Prime, so not a body corporate. Now Vin Diesel is renting the motor vehicle to me and he will charge GST. The same thing what I am doing now, I am renting that motor vehicle to Transformers Private Limited, a body corporate, with cost of the fuel included. So this is coming under RCM. So this is coming under RCM at 5%, and sir, I can take ITC. Optimus Prime can take ITC on this particular same line of business. That means generally when I am supplying RCM supplies, I cannot take ITC. I cannot take ITC, but I can take ITC on same line of business. If I take a motor vehicle on rent, I can take ITC. Any other purchase, I cannot take ITC. This is number one. Number two, sir, if I don't want to go with RCM, I can go with FCM by charging 12% in the invoice. So I can make it as FCM if I want at 12%. So I repeat, any non-body corporate to a body corporate renting of motor vehicle with cost of the fuel included, sir, that will be subjected to RCM. Okay, but if they want to shift it to FCM, they can shift it to FCM. RCM means 5% with limited ITC. What is that limited ITC? Only on the same line of business you can take ITC, or if you can go with FCM, complete 12% with full ITC. Enjoy. Sir, if for example I am non-body corporate and renting the motor vehicle to a non-body corporate, then you are straight away violating the condition. No RCM, it is straight away FCM. So that is what the entry of renting the motor vehicle with cost of the fuel included. The next one with respect to government services. See, government services, I can teach this RCM only when I am linking these provisions with exemptions. So please be careful, a very important discussion here. First of all, understand with respect to government services, I am treating the government services like this. See, we have a comprehensive discussion here. So in this comprehensive discussion, first let us understand what is taxable, what is exempt, and then if it is exempt, no need to worry about RCM or FCM. But if it is taxable, then we should check whether RCM or FCM. So government services, some services are exempt, some services taxable under forward charge, some services taxable under reverse charge. So let us understand first the taxability of government services. Coming to taxability of government services, see, government services, now let us divide the customers of government services into two categories. So the customers of government are divided into two categories. Number one is general public, the other is business entities. See, first of all, coming to government services, government means here we are talking about central government, state government, union territory, local authority. These people providing services to general public. See, for general public, whatever the services they provide, they are exempt under GST, except three things. Always remember these three things: A, B, C. That is based on exemptions entry 6 A, B, C. I am not talking about RCM entry. I am talking about exemption entry 6 A, B, C. 6A is postal department and railway services. 6B is services in relation to aircraft or vessel. 6C is transportation of goods or passengers. Sir, these three services. This is 6A. This is 6B. 6B of I am talking about exemption entries. Again, I am not talking about RCM entry. In exemption entry number 6A, B, C. Always you should remember what is 6A, B, C, because in further other entries or notifications you will be seeing this word. So now coming to the point, except these services, these three, whatever are provided by government to general public are exempt under GST. Simple, remember this. Now on these three services, these three are taxable. These three are taxable under forward charge. Always remember these three services, always taxable, always forward charge. Postal department, Indian Railways. Next, transport services in relation to aircraft or vessel. Next, transportation of goods and passengers. These three services taxable under forward charge even if it is provided to general public. Any other services to general public, exempt. No RCM, no FCM. But sir, if you come to business entity, when you come for business entities, any service provided to business entity, 6ABC is for taxable for general public itself, then will we give any exemption to business entity? For them also it is taxable only. 6ABC it is taxable. Apart from 6ABC, any other services also taxable. But the only relaxation here is, sir, if the business entity, what we are doing now, if the business entity is a small business entity, that means whose aggregate turnover is not exceeding the threshold limit 10, 20, 40 lakhs. In such cases, for such business entities, if government is providing services other than ABC, other services will be exempt under GST. No RCM, no FCM. Are you understanding the point? But 6ABC, the Postal Department, Indian Railways, this transportation of goods and passengers, this services in relation to aircraft or vessel, all these are taxable even if it is a small business entity. Apart from that, any other service provided to small business entity, exempt under GST, no need to worry about RCM or FCM. But for other big business entity like Jio or Reliance, Wipro, Infosys or anybody, sir, we are doing a turnover greater than the threshold limits. For us, if any service provided by government, that is taxable under RCM. But for business entities like other than small business entities or big business entities, for them, if the government is providing services for which they are charging consideration less than or equal to 5,000 other than ABC, that is exempt under GST. Always remember, whatever we discuss here, for ABC, no relaxation whatsoever. Right away, taxable under forward charge. General public, ABC, taxable. Business entity, small business entity, ABC, taxable. Big business entity, ABC, taxable. Greater than 5,000, taxable. Less than 5,000, taxable. Equal to 5,000, taxable. ABC doesn't enjoy any relaxation here. Okay. So, for general public, ABC, taxable. Forward charge. Other services, exempt. For small business entities, ABC, taxable. Forward charge. Other services, fully exempt. No need of RCM, FCM. For other business entities, that means like whose aggregate turnover is exceeding 10, 20, 40 lakhs, ABC, taxable, forward charge, no matter what is the consideration. But other services, if the consideration is less than or equal to 5,000, enjoy the exemption. If it is greater than 5,000, taxable under reverse charge. That is what the whole concept. Clear? Here, in this entire discussion, there is one more special guest for us. That special guest is nothing but renting of immovable property. Combined reading of exemption entry number 5 and 5A. Entry number 5 and 5A. So combined reading of entry number 5 and 5A. See here, renting of immovable property. Sir, renting of immovable property if we are provided by the government, then understand, if the recipient is registered fellow, then RCM. If the recipient is unregistered, then FCM. That means when I am renting the immovable property, central government, state government, union territory, all these people, sir, here for reverse charge mechanism purpose, we are also adding this reverse charge mechanism notification here. It is also extended or applicable to even the parliament, assembly, courts and tribunals. So these people renting the immovable properties, sir, to a recipient who is registered under GST, then recipient will pay GST under reverse charge mechanism. But if the recipient is unregistered, under forward charge mechanism, government only has to pay GST to the department. Are you clear? Recipient is registered now, RCM. Not registered now, FCM. But this whatever renting of immovable property related provision is not applicable for Indian Railways. That means what is the bottom line of the story? Indian Railways renting the immovable property. It is always forward charge. The reverse charge will not come into picture. So many points we have discussed. Please understand, for everything we have a notes properly and there is an example also properly here, all that stuff. So please make sure you are just going through the notes, writing it properly and taking the examples. Clear? Let me finally summarize again. Government services to general public, ABC, taxable, forward charge. Other services, exempt. Okay. For business entities, if it is a small business entity, that means as we have discussed, aggregate turnover not exceeding even the threshold limits. ABC taxable forward charge, other services exempt. For any other business entities, ABC taxable forward charge, other services, if consideration is less than or equal to 5,000, exempt, greater than 5,000, fully taxable. Clear? And one special guest is there, renting of immovable property. What is that renting of immovable property? If the recipient is registered, RCM. Recipient is unregistered, FCM. But if it is provided by Indian Railways, recipient is registered or unregistered, both the cases it is forward charge. That is what the summary of entry 5 and 5A in RCM. And for this purpose, we have discussed exemptions entry number 6 to the extent required. Mostly everything we have discussed. Okay. So section 7 and 8 are talking about interstate supply and intrastate supply. Simple thing, sir. What is interstate supply? Interstate supply means, sir, first of all, for place of supply, two things are important. One is location of supplier of service and place of supply. Sir, if these two, location of supplier of service and place of supply, are falling in two different states or two different union territories or one different state and one different union territory, then we call it as interstate supply. Simple. So when we call it as interstate supply, location of supplier and place of supply are falling in two different states, Karnataka, Tamil Nadu, or two different union territories, or one different state and one different union territory, then we will call it as interstate supply. And imports, sir, of course, imports are called as interstate supplies. Other cases, where other cases we can call it as interstate supply, where supplier is located in India and place of supply is outside India. That means nothing but exports. Supplies made to or by SEZ unit or developer. This is important one. Remember always, any supply made by an SEZ unit or to an SEZ unit, made by an SEZ developer or to SEZ developer, is interstate supply. It means, sir, even though there are two units located in same SEZ next to next door, they are making some supplies between them. That is also called as interstate supply. Sir, one unit is in DTA, sir, the other unit is in special. Both are in Chennai. Let us assume, for example, there is a company in Tamil Nadu. Sir, a company in Tamil Nadu in Chennai outside DTA, providing services to another company in Tamil Nadu in Chennai, same city, but which is in SEZ. Sir, then the supply happening between them is interstate supply. Leave about that. What I am trying to tell is, in the same SEZ, there are two different companies located next to door. One fellow is providing supply to another fellow. Still we call it as interstate supply. Clear? So supply made to SEZ unit or developer or made by SEZ unit or developer, we call it as interstate supply. Okay, that is another point. Next, suppose nowhere in the law if you are able to classify it as intrastate supply, then classify it as interstate supply. So these are what the meanings of interstate supply. In this, the important thing is that supply to SEZ, all that we have seen. Okay, so hope you are clear with section 7, interstate supply. Next, section 8 is all about intrastate supply. What section 8 is talking about? Na intrastate supply. First of all, please understand, you ignore about the page numbers, etc here, because concepts whatever common for the inter material will be different, final material will be different. So concepts are common. So I am recording it in a common way. So ignore about the page numbers. Concept and content will be same in your materials. Okay, don't worry. Now, so coming to the point, what is the meaning of intrastate supply? Intrastate supply is nothing but whatever is not interstate supply. That means location of supplier and place of supply is falling in the same state or same union territory. Then we call it as intrastate supply. What and all cannot be called as intrastate supply, sir? As I already told you, what and all cannot be called as intrastate supply. Supply is made to SEZ or SEZ units or developers? No. Import of goods? No. And supply of goods made to a foreign tourist referred in section 15. In these cases, please understand, even the location of supplier and place of supply falling in the same state, still we call it as interstate supply. One second. So in these cases, even though these people are located in the same state, the location of supplier and place of supplier falling in the same state, still we call it as interstate supply. Sorry, there was some technical issue. Okay, so hope it is clear. So generally, intrastate supply means location of supplier and place of supply falling in the same state or same union territory. But even though the location of supplier and place of supply is falling in the same state, if it is made to SEZ unit or developer, it is interstate supply. If it is import of goods till they cross the customs frontiers, it is interstate supply. Then supply of goods made to a tourist referred to in section 15, interstate supply. Sir, these cannot be called, it can never be called as interstate supply, simple. Next, as I told you already, mere establishments of the same person. As I told you in the meaning of export and import, sir, mere establishments of same person, if they are interacting, we cannot call them as export. Okay, so that point we have already discussed. The explanation related to only CA final, so already discussed. Explanation relevant only for CA final. Okay, already discussed. Next, supply in territorial waters. See, first of all, we have understood what is section 7 and 8. Section 7 and 8 is what is intrastate supply, what is interstate supply. So we have understood location of supplier and place of supply falling in the same state or union territory, then we call it as intrastate supply, otherwise we call it as interstate supply. In certain cases, there are specific transactions which we call as interstate supply, that also we have seen. Okay, fine. Now coming to section 9. What section 9 says? Section 9 says simple one, sir. When the location of supplier or place of supply is, suppose if it is falling in territorial waters. For example, you go to Goa to just for this casinos will be there in the ships will be placed in the territorial waters. Location of supplier and place of supply is falling in territorial waters, then which state or union territory we should take? So the state or union territory which is located to the nearest point of that appropriate baseline we will consider. So suppose here the location of supplier is falling or place of supply is falling, so we will take the state or union territory which is closest to this appropriate baselines or closest to point. Okay, so that way section 9, simple one, let us not worry about that. Now let us move on to section 10. Sir, what is section 10? Section 10, see, first of all, we have seen section 7, 8, 9, correct? Section 7, 8, 9 talking about what is interstate supply, all that. Here, to call it as interstate supply or interstate supply, first of all, we should be clear with what is the location of supplier and what is place of supply. Location of supplier, okay sir, fine, I will understand. But what is the meaning of place of supply? Here, please understand, place of supply chapter itself is like, it is a mathematics formula. Already they have derived the formula. You should just remember the formula now. Let us not worry about the derivation. Okay. Now, so in section 10, 11, 12, 13. I repeat, section 10, 11, 12, 13. In section 10, 11, 12, 13, the IGST Act clearly mentioned what is place of supply in different occasions. 10 and 11 talks about goods, 12 and 13 talks about services. Section 10 is purely for goods other than export and imports, 11 and 12 exclusively for imports and exports, 12 services where both supplier and recipient are located in India, and 13 where any one fellow supplier or recipient are located outside India, then 13 is applicable. Section 10, 11, 12, 13, all the 4 sections are there in CA final. So in CA Inter, you have only section 10 and section 12 in the syllabus. 11 and 13 is there in CA final. So I repeat, in CA Inter there are only 2 sections, section 10 and 12. Section in CA final, all the 4 sections 10, 11, 12, 13 are there. Sir, place of supply, 4 sections are dealing with this. Section 10, place of supply for goods other than exports and imports, a small section. Section 11 also, place of supply for goods, imports and exports, small section again. 12 and 13 are little bit lengthy sections, that's all. Okay, so section 12 is place of supply for services where both the supplier and recipient are located in India. 13 is where recipient or supplier, any one fellow, not both. If both are located outside India, why will we study about them in GST? Let us not worry about them. So section 13 talks about any one person, either the supplier or recipient is located outside India. Okay, so let us move on to section 10 first. So section 10 talks about place of supply with respect to goods. I'll explain this to you in a very simple way. First of all, see, understand. You have the notes properly and examples all that properly. Sir, section 10, if you see, place of supply for goods. The place of supply for goods here, first of all, what it will say now, sir, there is clause A, clause C and clause CA. Now, clause A says, when you are selling the goods, whether movement in goods involved or not. Yes sir, involved. If movement is there, then what is the destination of the goods? That will be treated as place of supply. No sir, movement is not involved. For example, you are going to a mobile showroom and buying the mobile. Is the movement of goods involved? Moving the mobile from one place to another place? No. So then what is the place of supply? Location of goods at the time of delivery. Okay, that will be the place of supply. Movement is involved, I repeat, movement is involved. At the movement is involved, then whatever is the destination, that will be the place of supply. Movement is not involved, na, where the goods are handed over to the customer, where the goods are located at the time of supply, that will be the place of supply. Okay, so for example, sir, I am selling raw material to you. I am in Tirupati, you are in Chennai. I am sending 10,000 kg raw material to you from Tirupati to Chennai. Movement of goods is involved from Tirupati to Chennai. So what is the place of supply? Chennai will be the place of supply because that is the destination. Or imagine you are going to a mobile showroom buying a mobile, and in that case, whether they are moving mobile from one place to another place, no, movement is not involved. Don't say, sir, they are moving it from the almara or the shelf. No, that is not that way. So movement is not involved. In that case, sir, where these goods are handed over to you, that will be the place of supply. Chennai, you are going to a mobile showroom buying the mobile. Chennai will be the place of supply. Okay, so that is the case. Movement involved, not involved. Now here the interesting thing is, I'll tell you. Let us see. Clause B is the next one. Clause B is all about build to ship to model. Build to ship to model. Sir, build to ship to model cases. In build to ship to model cases, what happens is, billing will be done to one person, shipping will be done to another person. Billing will be done to one person, shipping will be done to another person. In such cases, sir, what will be the place of supply? The place of supply is who gave you the direction. For example, sir, Vishnu is in Chennai. Vamsi is in Hyderabad. Vishwanath is in Bengaluru. Okay. Vishnu is making a sale to Vamsi. So I am making bill to Vamsi. Hey Vamsi, this is the bill, like that. What Vamsi is doing? Vamsi is making a sale to Vishwanath. So what Vamsi is asking to me, na, Vishnu sir, you made a sale to me, no? Don't do shipping to me. Do shipping to Vishwanath. So what I will do now? Billing to Vamsi, shipping to Vishwanath. This is what I will do. Bill to ship to model. In such cases, what is the place of supply? See, Vishnu has to determine place of supply now. Okay. So when Vishnu is determining the place of supply, sir, he will see because of whose direction I am moving the goods to Bengaluru, on the directions of Vamsi. Okay, what is the place of business of the person who has given the direction? That will be the place of supply. That means, please understand, in case of build to ship to model, simple, to whom you are billing, that fellow's place of business will be the place of supply. Simple. Okay, that is what the concept. Now, sir, there is one more new clause they have added, clause CA. In clause CA, what they are saying now, listen carefully. In clause CA, what they are saying now, if the recipient is unregistered, that means the buyer is an unregistered fellow. If the buyer is an unregistered fellow, then in such case, sir, what is the place of supply? Whatever the address of the recipient you have recorded in the invoice. But sir, if recipient has not given his address, if he has given his address, then that will be the place of supply. If he has not given the address, then location of supplier of that goods itself will be the place of supply. That means, sir, I am selling something to an unregistered person. So what is the place of supply in that case? I will not check now clause A or clause C, because clause CA has not a non-obstante clause. You need not verify clause A and C, movement is involved or not involved. You should see only, sir, what is the address of that recipient, what is that he is giving, what is that you are recording in the invoice. That address will be the place of supply. Okay, if address is not given, if he is not giving the address, then location of the supplier itself will be the place of supply. And one interesting point here is, sir, when we are asking the address of the recipient, detailed address like his door number, landmark, street name, all these things not required. Just the state name, if he is giving, the recipient is giving, that is also more than sufficient. That you record in the invoice, that is more than sufficient. That will be taken as place of supply. Now, for example, you are going to Goa. You are an unregistered person going to Goa and buying a mobile there. And in the mobile shop, they are asking your address. You are saying, sir, I am from Tamil Nadu. They are recording in the invoice Tamil Nadu. That is more than sufficient. That will be the place of supply. If you say, sir, my address and all I will not give you, you please sell the mobile to me, I will give money and get lost, then in that case, location of supplier, he is in Goa, he will take place of supply as also Goa itself. Am I clear? That is what the concept. And one more interesting clarification here, the new one which has been given is, see, I'm not just going through the material, I'm just trying to put it in a simple way, I'm presenting it so that you can just have a quick revision. Okay, now ignore my handwriting please. Sir, there is a new clarification here. New clarification here. What is that clarification now? When unregistered person is buying the goods through e-commerce operator, they are giving billing address separately, shipping address separately. In that case, what is the place of supply? Then they said place of supply will be the shipping address. Am I clear? That will be the shipping address. I repeat, when unregistered person is buying something through e-commerce operator, they'll give billing address separately, shipping address separately. Mostly like during Valentine's week, all that stuff. So you might be buying, so billing address is given yours, shipping address maybe somebody else, you only know. So in that case, what will be the place of supply? Place of supply will be the shipping address. Clear? So that is what the point. So that is the clarification. Now, so I repeat, 10(1) CA, when unregistered person is buying something, register like whatever the address is recorded in the invoice, that will be the place of supply. If the recipient is giving state name, that is also sufficient. If the recipient doesn't give anything, then the supplier location itself will be the place of supply. And if at all unregistered person is buying through e-commerce operator, billing address and shipping address are given separately, then shipping address itself will be taken as place of supply. So this is clause CA. Now finally, clause D and E. D. What is clause D? Sir, I am buying some goods, sir, and those goods needs some installation, sir, some assembly, sir. Then such type of goods if I am buying, what is the place of supply? Place of supply, for example, you are buying an AC. Sir, what is the place of supply? Where the AC is installed. Okay, so place of supply is where the goods are installed or assembled. Okay, that will be the place of supply. Simple provision. Next, another, the last case in section 10 subsection 1 is clause E. What is this clause E? Suppose you are traveling from Chennai to Bangalore in Vande Bharat train. Somewhere you are purchasing some Haldiram chips or something, moong dal, etc. in the train. Or you are traveling from SpiceJet Airlines from Hyderabad to Delhi. Sir, you are buying something like fried cashews or kajus, whatever it is they are selling, salted or roasted peanuts, all that they are selling. Then in such case, what is the place of supply for that? Sir, when the goods are supplied on board of a conveyance, then what is the place of supply for that? Sir, the place of supply for that is what? The place of supply is where these goods are taken on board, not where you are boarded, where the goods are taken on board. You are traveling from Hyderabad to Delhi, but these goods, whatever you are buying during the flight journey, they are taken on board in Bengaluru. Imagine, then the place of supply will be Bengaluru for all these things. Okay, so that is what section 10 all about. So what is section 10 all about here? Sir, there are 6 cases: clause A, B, C, CA, D and E. Movement involved, movement not involved, sale to unregistered person, bill to ship to model, goods where needs installation and assembly, and finally goods which are supplied on board of a conveyance. Clear? So those are the things. So we have discussed place of supply for all the occasions. For you, the proper notes and the examples for all these things have been given here. You can happily go through this. So just to show all the differences, etc., for quick revision purpose, I have used the flow chart. Okay, section 10 is applicable for supply of all goods other than exports and imports. Hope it is clear. Now let us move on to section 12. Section 12 is nothing but place of supply for services, where location of supplier and location of recipient both are in India. Okay, section 12. In section 12, if you see, the interesting part is, in section 12 there are 14 subsections, but subsection 1 says go and refer the following subsections to identify place of supply. Subsection 2 says from 3 to 14, if it is not applicable for you, come to me, I will tell you what is your place of supply. That means subsection 2 is general rule. From subsection 3, sir, it is specific rules. So that means what is the situation, what is the place of supply, what is the situation, what is the place of supply. So you have to remember the situation, and for that situation, what is the place of supply. Here your memory has to be like little bit more careful. Here you are with respect to memorizing the things, there is no other option. So coming to first subsection, section 12 subsection 2. So as I told, it is a general rule. It is applicable when 3 to 14 is not applicable. Okay, subsection 2 says, sir, what is the place of supply? Subsection 2 says place of supply is if it is a B2B supply, then the location of that recipient where he is registered, that will be the place of supply. If it is a B2C supply, then if the address of the recipient is available, then the address of the recipient. If address of the available is not available, then supplier address. So I repeat, section 12 subsection 2 general rule is all about that if the recipient is registered, his address will be the place of supply where he is registered. If he is unregistered, then if you have his address, then take his address as place of supply. If you don't have his address, then your address will be the place of supply. Clear? I repeat, subsection 2 comes into picture when all other subsections are not applicable. Next, there are examples which you can go through. Now, as I told, subsection 3 to 14, we know this is the scenario, this is a place of supply. So, what is the scenario? Sir, subsection 3. Subsection 3 deals with anything you do, anything which is directly related to immovable property. Anything which is related to immovable property. So, sir, services relating to immovable property, lodging, accommodation in a hotel or a boat or a vessel, or accommodation in any immovable property for social, business, or religious or cultural functions, and any incidental or auxiliary things related to above. So, first of all, sir, anything which is related to immovable property, lodging and boarding. Here, one interesting thing is lodging and boarding not only in the hotels, guest house, etc., but also houseboat and vessel. Even though it is movable, it is covered here. Next, for conducting the functions, we are renting out the property. Okay, and finally, anything incidental for all these above activities. For these cases, the place of supply will be the location of immovable property. The location of immovable property. For example, you are an architect, you are designing the hotel plan. Then the place of supply will be where the hotel is going to be constructed. So, let us assume you are a real estate agent giving advisory services for selling or buying the land. So, what is the place of supply where the immovable property is located? Or you are going to a hotel, booking the accommodation. What is the place of supply where the hotel is located? So, like this, with respect to these things, the location of the immovable property itself will be the place of supply. And if that immovable property is located outside India, if the immovable property is located outside India, then the place of supply will be the location of the recipient. The location of the recipient. Hope it is clear for you. I repeat, section 12 subsection 3 comes into picture with respect to immovable properties, all that stuff. But in such cases where the immovable property is located or intended to be located will be the place of supply. And if the immovable property is located outside India, then the place of supply will be the location of the recipient. Okay. Now, the interesting part is, as I told you, the examples can be the architects, interior decorators, surveyors, engineers, or other related experts like real estate agents, etc. So, for these things, sir, place of supply will be the location of immovable property. Now, the interesting thing is, sir, what if this immovable property is going to be located in more than one state? That means, for example, I'm an architect. Taj hotels are coming and asking and entering into a contract with me. Vishnu sir will pay you 10 crores. You design a hotel plan for us. For the hotel we want to construct in Lakshadweep also, the hotel we want to construct in Delhi also. In the single contract, I am going to provide service with respect to two immovable properties which are going to be located in two different states. Then place of supply will be that if the immovable property is located in more than one state, each state will be treated as place of supply. Each state will be treated as place of supply. So for me, Lakshadweep is also place of supply, Delhi is also place of supply in the example I gave. Sir, how do you proportionately allocate the amount here? See, that is there in the contract. For Lakshadweep property, I'll give you 3 crores. For Delhi property, I'll give you 7 crores. Like that, it is given in the contract. Then you allocate the funds in the same way. 3 crores place of supply will be Lakshadweep, and for 7 crores place of supply will be Delhi. But sir, if there is nothing mentioned in the agreement like that, then what should I do? For unprofessional people like you only, I made the rules. That means the law says if the agreement is there, based on agreement you do the allocation. But if the agreement is not there, please proceed as per the rules. Please proceed as per the rules. Rule 4 says, if it is, that means immovable property located in more than one state. Please understand, immovable property located in more than one state, each state will become place of supply. The only problem here is how do you allocate the fund, and for how much value place of supply will be Tamil Nadu, for how much value place of supply will be Karnataka, for how much value place of supply will be Andhra Pradesh, like that. On how much value place of supply should be applied, because on that value, if you identify this is place of supply Tamil Nadu, place of supply Karnataka, place of supply Delhi, like that, you will understand whether it is intrastate supply or interstate supply. Then you will charge CGST, SGST or IGST. Okay, yes, coming back to the point. So, nature of service, sir, if that service is provided with respect to accommodation in more than one states. For example, I am going to Delhi and also Agra, staying in hotels in Delhi and Agra belonging to same company. Then What is the place of supply? Delhi is also place of supply. For Agra, Uttar Pradesh is also place of supply. How do I apportion that? Based on agreement, sir. Agreement is not there based upon the number of nights you are staying in that property. Sir, if it is related to accommodation in houseboat or a vessel, in such cases, what is the time spent? What is the time spent in each state by that houseboat or vessel based on that ratio? Sir, any other cases? Any other cases? For example, I am a contractor. Government has given me to construct a highway crossing Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh border, 100 kilometers. Road, constructing the road is related to immovable property. So immovable property is a road which is located in Tamil Nadu also, Andhra also. So in such case, what is the place of supply? Tamil Nadu is also place of supply, Andhra is also place of supply. How do you apportion that? Is it each state is a place of supply, but how do you apportion that? Sir, if it is related to accommodation, number of nights, if it is related to houseboat, time spent in the day, this is any other case. How do I do this? You have to, based on the area of the immovable property. So let us assume 100 kilometers the highway is, 75 kilometers in Tamil Nadu and 25 kilometers in Andhra Pradesh. So based on that proportion, you just allocate that. So the examples also properly given. I repeat, if it is place of supply related to immovable property, location of immovable property will be treated as place of supply. If the immovable property is located in more than one state, each state will be taken as place of supply. Okay, and how do you apportion the value? Sir, based on the agreement, sir. Agreement is not there now. Rule 4 says if it is accommodation, number of nights. If it is houseboat, time spent in the day based on the hours. And if it is any other case, area of the immovable property in each state. Based on that, you have to ascertain the place of supply. Okay, apportion the place of supply. That is 12 subsection 3 for you. So 12 subsection 4 is all about, some performance based services. Please understand 12 subsection 4, they have specifically mentioned certain services here. Restaurant services, catering services, beauty treatment services, personal grooming services, fitness services, and cosmetic and plastic surgery services. These services, if are performed, then the place of supply will be where they are actually performed. So to remember these services, actually see, only these services are covered. It is not something general, it is specific. So to remember these services, I'll give you a code here. Remember that RCB girlfriend needs plastic and cosmetic surgery. RCB girlfriend needs cosmetic and plastic surgery. R means restaurant service, C means catering service, B means beauty treatment, G for personal grooming, F for fitness services, cosmetic and plastic surgery. If you feel it cringe, no problem. If you can remember, otherwise leave it. Okay, so 12 subsection 4, sir, where the services are actually performed, that will be the place of supply. Okay, next 12 subsection 5. 12 subsection is based on a training and performance appraisal services. Sir, training and performance appraisal services, if at all provided. For example, sir, in your auditor office, sir, which is registered under GST, they asked me to come and give training to the staff with respect to the GST audit or GSTR 9C, etc., anything. I am coming and providing my services of training you or appraising your performance, all that. In such cases, if the recipient is B2B, then the location of such registered person. If the recipient is B2C, then where the services are actually performed. Hope it is clear for you. Right? So examples are given, you can go through. Next, 12 subsection 6. 12 subsection 6 and 7, if you see the difference, 12 subsection 6 is entry to an event. That means the ticket, whatever you buy, any event, it can be sporting event, musical event, or any drama, etc. The ticket, whatever you purchase. So admission to an event. Sir, what is the place of supply? Where the event is actually held. But subsection 7 is all about organizing such event. For organizing the event, if I am taking consideration. Now, sir, subsection 7 I have given in a flowchart here. If you see, subsection 7, sir, what is the place of supply for organizing the event? Here the interesting point what we have to see is whether the event is organized in one state or it is being happening in more than one state. Sir, if it is happening in one state, if the recipient is registered, that is B2B case, the place of supply will be location of the recipient where he got registered, no matter whether the event is happening inside India or outside India. Very important thing. So I repeat, if the recipient is registered, I am the event organizer providing services for conducting some event for your company, all that stuff. Then if you are registered, sir, B2B transaction, then that will be, sir, where the event where the recipient is registered, that will be the place of supply. Even though event is held inside India or outside India, it does not matter. But if the recipient is unregistered, then please understand the place of supply will be where the event is actually held. If the event is held outside India, then the location of recipient will be taken as place of supply. So that is very important here. So please be careful. There might be chance like you are doing mistake. Or if it is like happening, the event is happening in more than one state, sir. If the event is happening in more than one state, sir, if the event is happening in more than one state, if the recipient is registered, same story again, where the location of recipient, that will be the place of supply. If the recipient is unregistered, sir, each state will be what? Treated as one place of supply. How do you apportion the value? You know the same story based upon the agreement. Sir, we are unprofessional fellows, we did not make any agreement. Then the law says follow rule 5. What rule 5 says? Rule 5 says follow gap. That means generally accepted accounting principles. You do somehow or the other. Please make sure you are following some gap. Okay, so that is what the point. So I will summarize again. 12 subsection 7. So this is regarding place of supply for organizing the event. If the event is organized in only one state, if the recipient is registered, then location of such recipient will be the place of supply. If the recipient is unregistered, then the location of event held. If the location is happening outside India, if the recipient is unregistered, in such cases, the location of recipient itself will be taken as place of supply. But if the event organizing is happening, for the event to be happened like in more than one states, each like if the recipient is registered, then again same story, location of recipient. If the recipient is unregistered, then each state where the event is being happening, that will be taken as place of supply, and we will apportion the value as per the agreement. If the agreement is not there, then we will apportion it as per the rule 5. Rule 5 says do whatever you want but follow gap. Okay, so that is what 12 subsection 7. Coming to 12 subsection 8. 12 subsection 8 place of supply for transportation of goods including through mail and courier. Okay, so in that case, if the recipient is registered, where the location of the recipient is there, that will be the place of supply. If the recipient is unregistered, where the goods are handed over for transportation, that will be taken as place of supply. In this case, when the recipient is unregistered, no matter whether the goods are transported within India or outside India, the place of supply will be the location where the goods are handed over to the supplier for transportation. So that is what 12 subsection 8. Clear? Now, 12 subsection 9. So, 12 subsection 9 is with respect to transportation of passengers. Transportation of passengers, what is the place of supply? Transportation of passengers, see, understand, if it is just a transportation of passengers, for example, you are buying a ticket, a flight ticket you are booking, your recipient registered, then the place of supply will be where you are registered, that will be the place of supply. If you are unregistered, where is the embarking point in that journey? Okay, so for example, you are an unregistered person from Chennai traveling from Delhi to Mumbai. So what is the place of supply? Delhi will be the place of supply because your embarking point is Delhi. So the point is, sir, recipient is registered now. Where he is registered, that will be the place of supply. If the recipient is unregistered, then the place of supply will be where the embarking point, that will be the place of supply. Hope it is clear. Next, sir, this is not transportation of passengers straight away, sir. It is regarding issue of the right to passage, where we'll be giving some passes or coupons kind of thing, where you can redeem them or use them to travel, sir. And in that cases where the boarding point is not known, in that case, if the boarding point is not known, the law says follow section 12 subsection 2. So what 12 subsection 2 says? If the recipient is registered, where he is registered, that will be the place of supply. If the recipient is unregistered, look, recipient address, if you have his address in your books, if you don't have your recipient address in books, then supplier address, simple. So in case of issue of right to passages, all that the passes etc where the boarding point is not known, I repeat, we should follow section 12 subsection 2, where the recipient is registered, where he is registered, that will be the place of supply. If the recipient is unregistered, then address of the recipient, if you have the address, if you don't have the address of the recipient, then your address, that is the supplier address, will be taken as place of supply. That is 12 subsection 9. Now coming to the next one, 12 subsection 10. If you see 12 subsection 10, sir, if you are going through 12 subsection 10, it says what about the services provided in board of a conveyance? Board a conveyance. Suppose you are entering into an aircraft and you are taking a movie on rent. Okay, so they are providing the services on board a conveyance. Just like we have seen goods supplied on board a conveyance, now we are seeing services supplied on board a conveyance. Same logic. Their goods are like where it has loaded into the conveyance. Now here or taken on to board. Okay, here the same way, the first scheduled point of departure of that conveyance will be the place of supply. Any service provided on board a conveyance, I repeat, the place of supply will be the first scheduled point of departure of that conveyance, not your journey. Where your journey is starting, that is not relevant. See now, for example, you are traveling from Delhi to Chennai via Hyderabad. Sorry, the flight is being operated from Delhi to Chennai via Hyderabad. You are boarding in Hyderabad and you are taking some music on demand, or you are taking a movie on demand, taking some services in the aircraft. Further, place of supply will be Delhi, not Hyderabad. That means where you are boarding, that is irrelevant. What is the first scheduled point of departure of that particular conveyance? That will be the place of supply. So that is 12 subsection 10. Okay. Now Moving on to 12 subsection 11. So telecom services. If you see telecom services, here we are talking about this fixed lines or antennas, postpaid, prepaid, internet bills, telephone bills, all that stuff. Here if you see, sir, if it is involving fixed lines, please understand, if it is involving fixed lines, then where that fixed lines or equipments are installed, that will be the place of supply. Okay, no sir, it is related to postpaid mobile or internet services. In such cases, what is the place of supply? Sir, if it is a postpaid thing, you know the billing address of the recipient, that will be the place of supply. No sir, it is a prepaid mobile internet DTH services. Then in such case, we will see, are you selling this through some selling agents or distributors, etc.? Yes sir, then place of supply will be the address of such a selling agent or distributor. No sir, I am selling it to directly final subscriber, sir. Then sir, where that payment is received, that will be the place of supply. Okay, or sir, I am making the sale through any electronic mode or any other cases also. If the recipient address is available in the records, that will be the place of supply. Otherwise, the supplier address will be taken. Okay, so location of recipient in the records of supplier, that will be taken. Otherwise, if it is not available, location of the supplier. Okay, so simple, sir. Through electronic mode or any other payments if you are taking, sir, in such case, if the address of the recipient is available, then location of the recipient. If the address of the recipient is not available, then location of the supplier will be taken as place of supply. Simple. So I repeat, 12 subsection 11, sir, telecom services, all that stuff, through fixed lines, location where it is installed. Postpaid connections, the billing address. Prepaid connections, if it is through the selling agent or distributor, then the address of the selling agent or distributor. Or if it is directly to final subscriber, sir, where the payment is actually received, that place will be the place of supply. Sir, through electronic mode or any other cases, if you have the address of the recipient, take it as place of supply. If you don't have the address of the recipient, your address, that is supplier address, will be taken as place of supply. That is what 12 subsection 11. Next, I have given the examples also below, you can just go through. Please understand, this is quickly to revise the concept for you. Only when you read some questions, examples, all that on your own, then you only will be able to remember them for a longer period. This is purely a revision video. Please remember that. So now, if these telecom services are provided in more than one state, where they are installing this leased circuits in more than one state, each state will be like place of supply, where there is a point installed in each state. There will be some starting point, ending point, or some intermediary point from which they will be extracting the benefits of this leased circuit. So in such case, wherever the state there is like starting point, ending point, and intermediate points, all those points you count, are based on how many points are located in each state. In that proportion you distribute. Every state is a place of supply for sure. How do you apportion that value? As per the agreement, sir. Agreement is not there, then you go with rule 6. What rule 6 is? See how many points are located in each state, and in those proportion, in that proportion or in that ratio, please split the amount and calculate place of supply. Each state will fall as place of supply. Next, 12 subsection 12. What 12 subsection 12 says? 12 subsection 12 says, sir, for banking or financial services including stock broking, in such cases, what is the place of supply? Please understand, the interesting part here is, if the recipient address is available, okay, then that recipient address will be taken. If the recipient address is not available, then the supplier address will be taken. Simple. I repeat, for financial services, banking services including stock broking, address of the recipient is available, take that as place of supply. Address of the recipient not available, supplier address only will be taken as place of supply. Okay. Next, 12 subsection 13, insurance services. Subsection 12 and 13, please be careful, not same. That is banking, this is insurance, purely insurance. In case of insurance service, see, banking services, we don't segregate whether the recipient is registered or not. We just see whether we have his address or not. But in subsection 13, we will see whether he is registered or not. If he is registered, recipient is registered, then location of such registered person. No sir, he is unregistered, then location of the recipient, whatever is available in the records. If the address is not available in the records, without address being available in the records, how will you give insurance? So that will be available. So nothing to worry. That situation will not arise. So I repeat, insurance services, if the recipient is registered, the location of such recipient. If the recipient is not registered, then whatever the address is recorded in the books of the supplier, that is insurance company, that will be the place of supply. Okay. So with this, we are done with 12 subsection 13. And 12 subsection 14. 12 subsection 14 is nothing but advertising services provided to central government, state government or statutory bodies or local authorities. Mostly they will not ask you, nothing to worry, but just remember, sir, here what is happening is you go to cinema halls or you see any hoardings, etc., etc., you see everywhere this government advertisements. No, for that, what is the place of supply? Sir, they are doing it in multiple states, so each state is a place of supply. Wherever they are doing, that is a place of supply. Sir, in such case, sir, how do we apportion the value? Apportion the value as per the agreement, but agreement is not there, sir. You know, we are unprofessional fellows. So for that we have rule 3. Don't worry. Rule 3 says what? Sir, if at all you are advertising through newspapers or publications, you're advertising through newspapers or publications, based upon the amount payable for all the editions in each state. So state wise, for all the editions, how much amount is payable? Based upon the amount payable for all the editions in each state, in that ratio you split. Sir, if it is advertisement through printed material like pamphlets, leaflets, diaries or calendars, t-shirts, etc., again amount payable for each state in the distribution, in that ratio. Sir, what about advertising in hoardings? You see, like everywhere central government is advertising their Swachh Bharat mission hoardings, etc., etc., then how much amount is payable? How much amount is payable for the hoardings in each state, in that ratio? You are advertising on trains, sorry, you're advertising on trains, then based upon the length of the railway track in each state, you should apportion the value. That you are advertising on the back of utility bills, some electricity bills, etc., etc., then number of consumers in each state with respect to that utility bills. Sir, you are advertising on railway tickets, number of railway stations in the state. Okay, you are advertising in radio stations, amount payable to such radio stations in each state, for how much radio stations, how much you will pay, in that ratio you should split. Sir, you are advertising in televisions, internet or SMS. Now, if it is television, go through viewership. If it is internet, through internet subscribers. If it is SMS, telecom subscribers. In that proportion, how many of them are there in that particular state? Sir, in that ratio, you should apportion them. Here, one interesting thing for all these three things, the common point is, sir, understand, if you are going through TV viewership, sir, TV viewership is published by Bark. Internet, try internet subscribers. SMS, telecom subscribers, try again. Sir, how they will do this? Now, see, all the three cases, the information is published on weekly basis. On weekly basis, you are calculating place of supply for any particular transaction falling in this particular period. You should see preceding quarter. For example, something is happening in Jan to March. Sir, between Jan to March, some transaction has happened. You are calculating place of supply for that, and you should see preceding quarter, that is October to December. In December last quarter, whatever the information has been published, that you should take and you should use. Okay, I repeat, viewership data published by Bark in the preceding quarter last week, in that ratio for all the states. For example, I am advertising in Andhra, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala. Sir, in those cases, for a particular news channel, for these 5 states, in that news channel, in the preceding quarter last week, what is the viewership for all these 5 states? In that ratio, you apportion that. Now see, for example, sir, in internet, let me take internet subscribers. Who will publish? Try will publish. Try is saying in Tamil Nadu 1 lakh, Karnataka 1,50,000, Telangana, Andhra put together. Sometimes 2 or more states they will publish a single figure. They will not give separate figure. For Telangana, Andhra, let us assume they have given same number 3 lakhs. Kerala 50,000. This is the figure. Okay, the internet subscribers. Now what we should do, sir? First of all, where the numbers are published together, first we should split them. So we should split them in what ratio? Sir, we should split them in the ratio of the population. Just for our calculation to be easy, I am splitting them in the ratio of 2:1, assuming the population is that way. Okay, so state wise you segregate them. So 120 lakhs we are spending in the internet to advertise in all these 5 states. So for this 120 lakhs, 5 states will be place of supply. 5 states will be place of supply. Sir, this 5 states, how do I apportion? Apportion that based on the internet subscribers in the state. So internet subscribers data, how I will get? You will get it from Troy. Which week data I should take? Preceding quarter last week data you should take. So preceding quarter last week data we have taken for all the 5 states. But Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, they give consolidated figure. So what we will do, first Telangana and Andhra, we will split them based on what ratio? Population ratio. Based on what ratio? Population ratio. And then we will proceed. So here for our calculation to be more easy, I have just taken the round figures, all that. So I have taken them. So now we will calculate the ratio like this. So 1 lakh in Tamil Nadu, the internet subscribers, 1 lakh 50 in Karnataka, 2 lakh in Telangana, 1 lakh in AP, and 50,000 in Kerala. So we will get the ratio 1 is to 1.5 is to 2 is to 1 is to 0.5. In this ratio, we will split this 120 lakhs, and for 20 lakhs, place of supply will be Tamil Nadu, 30 lakhs place of supply will be Karnataka, 40 lakhs Telangana, 20 lakhs AP, and 10 lakhs Kerala. For those amounts, the place of supply will be those states. That is how you do even for telecom subscribers or even TV viewership. Only difference is that TV viewership is published by BARC, Broadcast Audience Research Council, internet subscribers published by TROI, telecom subscribers published by TROI. Publishing authority is different. Remaining everything, the procedure, everything is same to same, nothing to worry. Okay, so highly very less chances of being tested in your exam, nothing to worry. Okay, so that is what with respect to 12 subsection 14 also. So with this we are done with section 12. So the next amendment is regarding some clarification with respect to place of supply for online services supplied to unregistered recipients. Here the problem arising is, please understand, mainly for any services which are supplied through online, through e-commerce operators, etc., or OIDR services or online money gaming. Let me see, for example, any services like AstroTalk or online consultancy, or OIDR services means you can take Netflix example, or online money gaming you can take Dream11, Rummy Circle, etc. So for these type of people, you can understand the nature of services they are providing, because they are providing the services using technology to people living across various states, all that stuff. When they are doing their billing, what is happening is, in their bills, in their invoices, they are not recording the name of the state from which the customer is coming from. Because of this, what is happening now, sir, we are not able to determine the place of supply properly, and we are not able to share the revenue to those respective states properly. So now what has happened now? The department has clarified, as per section 12 subsection 2, if you see, any services supplied to an unregistered person, the place of supply shall be, if at all you have his address, the recipient address in your records, that address itself will be the place of supply. If you don't have his address in the records, then your address, that is the supplier address, will be the place of supply. Now what the department has clarified now, if you are providing any services through e-commerce operator, this online or digital services, or any OIDR services like online information data access and retrieval services, okay, and online money gaming services, these people, what you have to do now, it is mandatory for you. What is it mandatory for you now? To take the address of the recipient. Address of the recipient is not door number, all these things required. At least make sure you are taking the name of his state. Okay, so the state name is mandatory. So for you, take the state name of the recipient. That is what? Mandatory. That is mandatory for you. Okay, so this itself will become what? The place of supply, and that you have to file when you are filing your GSTR 1 or 1A, as the case may be. Give the details of place of supply of your recipients and pay the taxes accordingly. So I repeat, place of supply will be the name of the state recorded in the invoice. For the customers who are unregistered under GST, for them, if you are providing online digital services either through e-commerce operator, etc., or you are providing OIDR services where it is purely technology driven, online information data access and retrieval services, or even online money gaming like Dream11, all these things, if these people are providing services to, and you can understand these people are providing services across India to various people unregistered under GST. Okay, so now for these services, they are supposed to record the name of the state of the customer in their invoice, so that place of supply we will determine accordingly and will give share to the respective states. So simple, these people record the address of the recipient in the invoice, mandatory, no matter what is the value of supply. That is very important, sir. Irrespective of the value, irrespective of the value, it is like more than 50,000 only I am supposed to record all these things. No, not for you, sir. For you, no matter what is the value, even Netflix 149 rupees subscription per month we are paying, no, on that also the invoice, the name of the state should be recorded. Okay, and that should be filed in GSTR 1 and 1A, as the case may be. Okay, that is what the clarification given by the department here. Coming to section 31. So coming to section 31, time limit to raise tax invoice. See, we are dividing that into two parts, goods and services. First, we'll discuss time limit to raise tax invoice for goods as per section 31, and then we'll go with section 12, time of supply for goods, right? So as per section 31, time limit to raise tax invoice for goods. See, there are 3 situations here. First thing is, we should check, actually speaking, 4 situations. Sir, first what we have to see, whether movement of goods is involved or not. Sir, if the movement of goods is involved, first of all, don't worry about this material. You can download this from the Telegram channel, the soft copy of the classroom. So, of the class note, sorry. So that is available in the description in the video. Right, coming to the discussion. Supply. Supply is involving movement of goods, that we have to check. If the movement of goods is involved in the supply, then what we have to do, we should raise the invoice on or before removal of such goods. No sir, movement is not involved. Movement is not involved. In any other case, on or before making the goods available to the customer or the delivery to the customer, you should raise the tax invoice. That means, if for example, I am selling 10,000 kg raw material to you, and that 10,000 kg raw material I am sending it from Tirupati to Chennai, then the movement of goods is involved. Sir, in such cases, what I have to do? Simple, on or before removal from my godown, I should raise the tax invoice to you. And if there is movement not involved, for example, you are going to a mobile shop purchasing a mobile, sir, at the time of making the goods available to you, that shopkeeper has to raise the invoice for you. So on or before making the goods available to the customer or delivery. Okay, so that is the time limit to raise invoice. Now the different case is, sir, what if it is a continuous supply of goods? Sir, continuous supply of goods is nothing but a recurring transactions where you take the periodical transactions. It is not like a one-time transaction. So as per the contract, there are periodical transactions involved. In such case, see, for example, now I am going to supply to you particular goods for 6 months, and every month on first Monday I will be delivering you 10,000 kg raw material at 50 rupees rate. So that is a contract between you and me. Now in this case, when there is continuous supply of goods, please understand, when there is continuous supply of goods, sir, what is the time limit to raise tax invoice? On or before issuance of periodical statement, or on or before receipt of periodical payments. That means, I will issue, there can be a case where I am issuing periodical statements to you, and based on that statements you will release the payment. Or you know the details of what and all the goods are received at what time, and you keep on making the periodical payments, whatever the case may be, as per our agreed terms. If at all I am issuing the periodical statement and you are making the payment, then, sir, on or before issue of periodical statement, I should also raise the invoice. Otherwise, sir, if our situation is like you are settling the periodical payments, sir, on or before me receiving periodical payment from you, I should make the payment, I should raise the invoice for you. So simple here, if it is continuous supply of goods, sir, if it is continuous supply of goods, on or before issuance of periodical statement by the supplier or receipt of periodical payments from the recipient, supplier has to raise the invoice. So that is what the concept. As the case may be here, it is not whichever is earlier in the law. So it is not whichever is earlier. But here next case, if you see, goods sent for sale on approval basis. Goods sent for sale on approval basis. If you send goods to anybody for sale on approval basis, please understand the law says, please bring back the goods within 6 months or raise the invoice. Sir, within 1 week only has accepted the goods, sir. Then at the time of acceptance, please raise the invoice. So what is the time limit to raise invoice for goods sent for sale on approval basis? Na? Sir, on at the time of acceptance, at the time of supply. At the time of supply means at the time of acceptance, or within 6 months from the date of removal from the godown, whichever is earlier. Okay, so within that time I should raise the invoice. This is section 31 part 1 related to goods. Section 31 part 2 will discuss after section 12 is discussed. Now coming to section 12. Coming to section 12. So section 12 says the time of supply of goods. Please understand, section 12 and 13 you know already. So section 12 and 13 both are talking about time of supply of goods, time of supply of service, and both the sections has 6 subsections. Subsection 1 in both the cases says go with the following subsections. Subsection 2 talks about general rules. Subsection 3 talk about RCM goods and RCM services. What is the time of supply? Subsection 4 talks about time of supply for vouchers. Subsection 5 residual case. Subsection 6 interest or late fee for delay in payment of consideration. So here the interesting thing is, sir, subsection 3, 4, 5, 6, all these 3 subsections are ditto same in 12 and subsection 3. Section 12 subsection 3 and 13 subsection 3, except for the words goods and services. Clear? So if you know 12 subsection 4, 5, 6, same provisions are for 13 subsection 4, 5, 6. Whatever are applicable for goods, same thing are applicable for subsection 13 services also. So now first let us go with 12 subsection 2. 12 subsection 2 general rule, time of supply for goods. Sir, what is 12 subsection 2 says? 12 subsection 2 I will tell you a very simplified way, please understand. So 12 subsection 2 says, after taking into consideration a notification also, notification number 66/2017, sir, Actually, time of supply provisions as per section 12 subsection 2 is actual date of invoice or due date of invoice, that is date of invoice as per section 31, whatever you have to raise, or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Later on, government through notification number 66/2017 they have exempted that. So taking all these things into consideration, you just remember 12 subsection 2, sir, it is time of supply is actually when you are raising the invoice, or at what time you should have raised the invoice under section 31. In simple terms, I call it as actual date of invoice or date of invoice. That means ADOI or DDOI, whichever is earlier. Just remember that way. 12 subsection 2 says ADOI or DDOI, whichever is earlier. Actual date of invoice or due date of invoice. Clear? Now, another interesting thing is, recently because of this specified actionable claims concept what we have seen, sir, you know specified actionable claims also nothing but goods. And for specified actionable claims, GST is applicable. And the time of supply for that is not ADOI or DDOI, whichever is earlier. Sir, it is date of payment. That means immediately taxable. That means, you know, specified actionable claims actually we have discussed in supply chapter also. Lottery, betting, gambling, casinos, online money gaming, and horse racing. For these cases. So, in simple words, I can say, sir, section 12 subsection 2. TOS for goods. Sir, I will divide that into two cases. If it is specified actionable claims, straight away date of payment. If it is other goods, ADOI or DDOI, whichever is earlier. Okay, so that is 12 subsection 2. Here the interesting part you should know, advances received in case of supply of goods are not taxable, unlike in 13 subsection 2. For services, advances received are immediately taxable, but for goods it is not that case. Hope you remember that provision. Okay, again in 13 subsection 2 also we'll see that. So if you go through this example, sir, there is 10 lakh consideration for the machine to be assembled, all that stuff. So we have given all the details. You can just go through a simple one only, nothing to discuss here. So what I am just stressing here in this point is nothing but, even though advance received, it is not immediately taxable. So that point we have to keep in mind. So for advance also ADOI or DDOI, whichever is earlier. For the balance payment also you have to apply ADOI or DDOI, whichever is earlier. So ADOI they will give in the question, sir, what is the actual date of invoice? 11th October, like that. But what is the due date of raising the invoice? That you will understand only by referring section 31. Okay, so here this is a machine which has to be assembled at site and accepted by buyer. So in that case, sir, the movement of goods is not involved. Sir, the goods are being handed over to the customer on 5th October. So that is the date of invoice on that is the date on which invoice should have been raised under section 31. So that is due date and actual date is 11th October. So which is earlier? 5th October is earlier. So that will be the time of supply. That will be time of supply for the 55,000 advance also, as well as 9,45,000 balance payment also. Clear? So that is 12 subsection 2 for you. Next one, coming to 12 subsection 3. Simple. 12 subsection 3 is with respect to time of supply for goods covered under reverse charge mechanism. 12 subsection 3, remember 3 dates. See, the 3 dates will be time of supply for goods covered under RCM. 3 dates will be date of receipt of goods, date of payment, 31st day from actual date of invoice, not due date of invoice, actual date of invoice. Clear? So here, first of all, before going into this provision, I will tell you one thing. See, whenever you are talking about in time of supply, a concept called date of payment. Remember, date of payment we should see from two different angles. Whether date of payment, if the time of supply provision you are seeing, who is liable to pay GST? Sir, if supplier is liable to pay GST, date of payment meaning you should see from supplier point of view. Sir, if recipient is liable to pay GST, you should see date of payment meaning from recipient point of view. Hope it is clear for you. See, sir, okay, sir, I will see that from their point of view. But what is date of payment meaning? Date of payment meaning is, sir, if you see from supplier point of view or recipient point of view, I repeat, date of payment is nothing but date of entry in books, date of debit or credit in the bank account. Suppose if you are seeing it from supplier's viewpoint, date of payment meaning, date of payment means date of entry in the books of supplier's books of accounts, date of entry in the supplier's books of accounts, or date of credit in the supplier's bank account, whichever is earlier. But if you are seeing from recipient point of view, date of payment means date of entry in the recipient books of accounts or date of debit in the recipient bank account, whichever is earlier, as the case may be. So recipient's view, it will be useful for you in section 12 subsection 3 and 13 subsection 3, because in those cases recipient is liable to pay GST. So time of supply provisions will be seeing from recipient's point of view, not from the supplier's point of view. Okay, now hope it is clear for you. Coming to 12 subsection 3 again, sir, what is the provision? What is the provision? 12 subsection 3 says, time of supply for goods covered under RCM, date of receipt of goods, date of payment, and 31st day from actual date of invoice. I repeat again, it is not due date of invoice. And here, sir, when we are talking about date of payment, sometimes in the question they'll give you date of entry also, date of credit or debit, whatever it is. Sometimes they will just give date of payment. So if they give date of entry as well as date of debit or credit, compare those dates with these dates also and see whichever is earlier. Otherwise, date of payment alone might be given. So please take care of that. That's all. Okay. So that is 12 subsection 3. Okay. One point here is the relief of not paying tax on the time of receipt of advance for goods is there in only 12 subsection 2. Here in 12 subsection 3, that relaxation is not there. That means if the goods are covered under reverse charge mechanism, sir, GST will be payable by the recipient. That means when the recipient is giving advance to the supplier, at the same time he should also pay GST to the government. And of course he can take ITC, that's a different story. Okay. So now the point is, I am repeating, sir, this is important point. What it is? The relaxation to not pay GST on advances of goods is only under section 12 subsection 2, not under 12 subsection 3. Okay, so in 12 subsection 3, if the goods are covered under RCM, if advance is paid to the supplier, then recipient will pay advance to the supplier and will pay GST to the government, because date of payment will be earlier here. Okay, so please keep that in mind. And next, by any chance, if you see, this is a similar provision which you will find even under section 13 subsection 2 and subsection 3 also. Sir, by any chance, if you are not able to identify time of supply as per the provisions given in 12 subsection 3, then the time of supply will be the date of entry of receipt of goods in the books of the recipient. So when the recipient has recorded in his books about the entry of the goods, that will be about the receipt of the goods, that will be the time of supply. In any circumstance, by any chance, to cover the exceptional cases here, sir, if time of supply cannot be identified because of the 12 subsection 3 provisions, then what will be the time of supply? Time of supply will be nothing but when the recipient has entered in his books of accounts regarding the receipt of goods, that will be the time of supply. Okay, so that is 12 subsection 3 for you. So 12 subsection 4, nothing but time of supply in case of vouchers. So whenever the vouchers are given, sir, vouchers, please understand the time of supply is nothing but if the supply is identifiable, then the time of supply will be the date of issue of the voucher. If supply is not identifiable, date of redemption of the voucher. Of course, through the recent budget, this has been removed, and of course will be removed from the upcoming attempts. Nothing to worry. Next, 12 subsection 5. 12 subsection 5 is a residual case, guys. Sir, residual case in that if 12 subsection 2, 3, 4 is not applicable, in that case, what is the time of supply? Sir, we have to see whether, first the fundamental question what we have to ask is whether a person is required to file periodical return or not. If he is required to file periodical return, then the date of filing such periodical return will be the due date for filing. The due date for filing such periodical return will be the time of supply. No, sir, he is not required to file periodical return. Then the date of payment of tax itself will be the time of supply. So here, see, there is an example given. Investigation reveals clandestine removal of goods by a supplier who is not registered under GST. So without paying taxes, he has removed the goods. That means he has supplied the goods, and the evidence is in the form of noting of an undated and some corroborative material, all that. So the department has identified all the information, gathered the information and identified that this fellow has removed the goods without actually getting registered, even though he is liable for registration. The supplier voluntarily pays tax during the investigation to close the case. That's a different story. The time of supply for this will be the date on which the tax is paid as being unregistered. Supplier is not required to file periodical return. So as I was telling here, sir, a person has cleared the goods from his business premises without being registered. Actually here the problem is he is liable for registration and he did not register and clear the goods without paying tax, even though he is liable for taxes. So during the investigation process itself, he has paid the taxes to avoid the penalties, etc., etc., and all. Now in that case, sir, what is the time of supply for that amount? That amount will not come under section 12 subsection 2 or subsection 3 or subsection 4. You cannot take time of supply in those cases. So what we have to do, you should never feel like, sir, I don't have time of supply for my case, I will not pay GST. Sir, when subsection 2, 3, 4 is not helping for you, subsection 5 is designed specially for you people. So come here and it says if you are required to file periodical return, this fellow is not registered here, so he is not required to file periodical return. So if at all anybody is required to file periodical return and they are caught in this way or something other where subsection 2, 3, 4 is not applicable, then they can go with due date for filing return if they are already registered, and if the periodical return is not required to be filed, then the date of payment of GST itself will be taken as time of supply. Simple. Don't feel like you don't have time of supply for your case, and don't feel like I am not able to pay GST. 12 subsection 5 is waiting for you. Okay, that is 12 subsection 5. Next, finally 12 subsection 6. 12 subsection 6. 12 subsection is nothing but time of supply for late fee, penalty or interest. Guys, please understand, whenever we talk about late fee, interest, penalty, all that stuff, especially when you hear the word interest, in GST, interest comes in two circumstances. One is, please understand, one is, so interest will be dealt in two cases. See, interest, first of all, one is we are allowing to use money to somebody and charging interest. That means you are giving loan, advance, deposit, something, and they are paying interest. This, it is exempt under GST. Sir, the next one is, sir, we are selling goods or services to somebody, and for late payment, we are charging interest. You call it interest, somebody will call late fee, somebody will call it penalty. That's a different story. But why you are charging it? Because there is delay in payment of tax. So please understand, interest is dealt in two cases. One is you extend the loans, advances, deposits. For that, if you get interest, it is exempt under GST. Here we are going to talk about, that when we allow somebody, the customers, to make late payment, the supplier allows the customers to make late payment because of supply of goods and services. For that, the consideration is being paid late. That interest will form part of value of supply and it will be subjected to GST. For that, what is the time of supply? The time of supply is the date of receipt of such payment. Here, if you see, if you observe the interesting point, here the time of supply under 12 subsection 6 for this is date of receipt of payment. That means if the recipient doesn't pay, if at all I am selling some goods to you and I am asking you to make payment within this particular time, within 30 days, etc. If you don't pay within 30 days, you should pay 5,000 penalty like that I told, or 5,000 interest you should pay like that I told. Wording can be anything. It can be interest, late fee, penalty, whatever you want you call. Sir, if you are not paying, I am asking 5,000 penalty, please pay, but you are not paying, then time of supply will not come into picture. Then there is no GST applicability. So understand, this is the only case in GST where if the customer doesn't make payment of tax, the supplier need not pay GST to the government. Isn't it interesting? So that is what all about section 12. Okay, with this we are done with time of supply for goods. So the next one with respect to part 2 of section 31. So time limit for raising invoice for services. So the time limit for raising invoice for services, if you see the general rule is nothing but, on or before completion of, on or before provision of service, you can raise the invoice, no issues. And sir, from the date of completion of service also, within 30 days you can raise the invoice. That means simple, within 30 days from the provision of service, you can raise the invoice. That is what the law. That means at the time of completion or even after the completion, within 30 days, yes, you can raise the invoice, no issues. If at all you are a banking company, financial institution, insurance company, including NBFC, then the time limit is 45 days. You have to raise the invoice within 45 days. So that is the general rule. I repeat, general rule for raising invoices within the completion of service, within 30 days you should raise the invoice. Okay. And if at all you are a insurance company, banking company, financial institution or NBFC, you can raise the invoice within 45 days instead of 30 days. But sir, if the service ceases, the supply ceases before completion, that means even before completing the service, for example, you are doing audit for the books of accounts of my company. Sir, after 4 days of doing audit, you fell sick or there is some emergency, you are cancelling the contract, you are just leaving. For the 4 days work you have done, whatever it is, sir, you are supposed to raise the invoice. That means you should raise the invoice at the time of cessation. That is what the law says. So any service, if it gets ended before completion, then for whatever the portion of the work you have done, if you are raising the invoice for that, then you should raise the invoice at the time of cessation itself. That is next case. And the third case, the important case, sir, continuous supply of service. See, I have been discussing in this revision lecture purely the theoretical concepts, the provisions, etc. I am elaborating in the soft copies, notes, everything, the questions, examples, problems, everything has been properly given. If you use the resource properly, that is more than sufficient. So hope you are understanding this is a revision lecture. Okay, that is why I am not able to discuss every example point by point or every concept with examples. I am not able to discuss. Hope you understand that. Now, in case of continuous supply of service, sir, if it is continuous supply of service, we have seen for goods, sir, the time of supply will be on or the time limit to raise invoice will be on or before issue of periodical statement or receipt of periodical payments, as the case may be. Here, what we have to see is, sir, if it is a continuous supply of service, sir, If it is a continuous supply of service, the contract which has been entered between supplier and recipient, are you able to determine the due date of payment from that contract? If due date is ascertainable, on or before due date, due date of payment. If due date is not ascertainable from the contract, then on or before the supplier receives the payment, he should raise the invoice. For example, I am supplying some construction activities for you. So continuous supply of service, please understand, the continuous supply of service means it is defined that where the service is provided or agreed to be provided continuously on recurrent basis under a contract for a period of exceeding 3 months with periodic payment obligation, and of course includes supply of such services as the government may notify. So for this purpose, if you see construction, you are doing construction of my house and we are entering into a contract where due date is ascertainable in the contract, then contractor should raise the invoice, the supplier should raise the invoice on or before the due date. No sir, due date is not ascertainable from the contract. Then when the contractor, the supplier should raise the invoice. So the contractor will raise the invoice on or before receiving the payment. No sir, the interesting point is, sir, if the payment in the contract is linked to completion of an event, sir, completion of an event. In such case, please understand, on or before completion of that event, on or before completion of such event, the supplier, that is the contractor, has to raise the invoice. For example, we are constructing the house. I told, if you finish the foundation, I'll give you 5 lakhs. If you finish the first floor slab, I'll give you 5 lakhs. Like that, we have kept some milestones for some events. Only after completion of that, supplier can raise the invoice. So at the time of completion of that milestone, he can raise the invoice. Clear? That is what the point. So I repeat, continuous supply of services, what is the time limit to raise invoice? Number 1, sir, the time limit to raise invoice is if due date is ascertainable, on or before the due date, not ascertainable, on or before receiving the payment. If the payment is linked to completion of an event, then on or before completion of such event, invoice has to be raised. So that is what the concept. Okay. Now, finally, so regarding that, there is an example also. You can just go through a question. Sir, finally, sir, if at all you are an insurance company, banking company, financial institution, including NBFCs and telecom companies, they are making supplies among themselves, that is among their distinct persons under section 25. Sir, when they are making supplies among their distinct persons under section 25, sir, invoice may be issued before or at the time of recording such supply in the supplier's books of accounts, or even before the expiry of the quarter during which the supply was made. There is no concept of whichever is earlier here. So if at all HDFC Mumbai is making a supply to HDFC Chennai, sir, in such cases, sir, invoice can be raised when the supplier is recording this in his books of accounts in this transaction, or even it can be raised by the end of the quarter in which this supply was made. That means you have the entire quarter to enjoy. Okay, so that within the end of the quarter you raise the invoice. That is what they are trying to tell here. So this is section 31, time limit to raise tax invoice. Now guys, please understand, you should be very careful with the question when they are asking regarding time of supply, because sometimes you will calculate time limit to raise tax invoice and then you will feel like that itself is time of supply. Time limit to raise tax invoice is different, time of supply is different. So please understand that when you are calculating, be careful. Whenever you calculate and you get some date as an answer, you feel like that is time of supply. Actually, you might have calculated time limit to raise tax invoice. So please be careful with that. Okay. So let us move on to section 13. So what is the time of supply for services? So in 13 subsection 2, if you see time of supply for services general rule, what we have to see is, as per section 13 subsection 2, we should first see the fundamental question whether tax invoice is raised within section 31 time limit or not. So what is the question we have to ask? Whether invoice is raised within section 31 time limit or not. Answer can be yes, answer can be no. Sir, if the answer is yes, okay, then what is the time limit to raise invoice? Date of invoice or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. You know the meaning of date of payment. Date of payment is nothing but date of entry in the books of accounts of the supplier or date of credit in the bank account of the supplier, whichever is earlier. So that will be the time of supply. No sir, invoice is not raised. Invoice is not raised within section 31 time limit. If invoice is not raised within section 31 time limit, date of provision of service, that is completion of service, or date of receipt of payment, whichever is earlier. So please understand, section 13 subsection 2 general rule is simple. Okay. Whether invoice is raised within section 31 time limit or not, that we should check. Answer can be yes or answer can be no. Sir, if the answer is yes, you will compare actual date of invoice and date of payment, whichever is earlier. No sir, answer is no. Then date of supply of service or date of provision of service, whatever it is, or date of payment, whichever is earlier, that will be the time of supply. So that is section 13 subsection 2. Here, as I told you already, the interesting part is the advance. Sir, because of this, if you see, both the cases date of payment is being compared. So hence it implies what? Whenever the advance is received, so automatically what? It will become taxable. So in 12 subsection 2 there is a relaxation, but in 13 subsection 2 there is no relaxation. So here what I am trying to tell you is, sir, with respect to section 13, sir, except, I tell you, except 12 subsection 2, sir, every case time of supply, it is better to go with calculating time of supply for each and every payment. So for every payment, apply time of supply provisions and calculate. So sometimes for all the payments you will get same time of supply, sometimes for different payments you will get different time of supply. Okay, so that is what the concept. Fine. So now if you are not able to, as I already told you under 12 subsection 3, as we have discussed, if you are not able to identify time of supply as per the provisions given here, as per the provisions given in this case, sir, what you can do, the time of supply will be nothing but the date of receipt, the date on which the receipt of supply has been entered in the books of accounts of the recipient will be taken as time of supply. Clear? So I repeat, if at all in any circumstances, as I told you already, here there is one example, fragrance and co, that you can just go through. Yes, so here there is an example, you can just go through this. Okay, now that is 13 subsection 2 for you. Next, so I have given examples also here. So as I told you already, for each and every payment, better calculate time of supply. So here for advance received, for services, you are taking a function hall on rent. The advances received for services, it will become immediately taxable. But for the balance amount, again you have to apply the provision. So whether invoice is raised within section 31 time limit or not, you check that. And if it is raised within section 31 time limit, then date of invoice or date of payment, whichever is earlier. If not raised, date of provision of service or date of payment, whichever is earlier. Okay, so that is what 13 subsection 2 for you. You can just go with this example. You can pause the video and go with the example. So with this we are done with section 13 subsection 2, and you can just go with ICA study material book back questions of from time of supply chapter. That is more than sufficient, and this is what all about this. Next, 13 subsection 3. Let us move on to 13 subsection 3. And above this there is something related to 1000 rupees that you just ignore, not an issue right now. Next, time of supply for services covered under reverse charge mechanism, 13 subsection 3. So just like 12 subsection 3, here we are seeing 13 subsection 3, time of supply for services covered under RCM. So the provision is simple. Here what you will do is, you will compare just date of payment or 61st day from the date of invoice, actual date of invoice, whichever is earlier, that will be the time of supply. Simple provision. So 13 subsection 3, sir, actual date of payment you check, and 61st day from actual date of invoice, whichever is earlier, that will be the time of supply. So as I told you already, the meaning of date of payment, sir, will be seeing date of entry in the recipient's books of accounts or date of debit from recipient's bank account, whichever is earlier. Suppose if it is not possible to identify time of supply as per these provisions, you know, sir, date of the entry in the recipient books of accounts regarding the receipt of service, just like we have seen in 12 subsection 3, 13 subsection 2, here also we are seeing the same point. Okay, here one more interesting thing is regarding, sir, suppose if you are importing services from your associated enterprise which is located outside India, then the time of supply will be date of payment for the service or date of entry of the service recorded in the books of the recipient, whichever is earlier. Associated enterprise has the same meaning which is given in Income Tax Act 1961 section 92A. Not that greatly relevant for you, don't worry. So simple, just remember, if from associated enterprise you are importing the service, then the time of supply provisions is nothing but, sir, date of payment for such service or date of entry in the books of the recipient, that is the person in India, whichever is earlier. So that is what 13 subsection 3. So here we have an example also for that. You can just go through 13 subsection 3 examples. Okay, so this is the example. You can just solve this. Right, you can just pause the video and go through this. With this we are done with section 13 subsection 3. So I can also tell you that, sir, we are done with section 13 because 13 subsection 4, 5, 6 are nothing but ditto, same like 12 subsection 3, 4, 5 and 6, except for the words goods. Here there is services, the provisions are same, that vouchers, residual case and interest payments. So with this we are done with section 13 as well. Now if you see the next one interesting amendment in section 13 subsection 3. So what is section 13 subsection 3, sir? Time of supply for services covered under RCM. So TOS for services, TOS for sauce covered under RCM. Okay, time of supply for services covered under RCM. You know, generally time of supply for services covered under RCM are nothing but date of payment next 61st day from the actual date of invoice, not due date, actual date of invoice. So date of payment means maybe entry in the books of the recipient or debit in the books of the bank account of the recipient, as the case may be. So this was the time of supply before. Now what the department has did now, see, understand, you are comparing 61st day from the actual date of invoice, okay, but if invoice is issued by the supplier, that is the case. But in case of reverse charge mechanism, there is a concept of self invoice also, where supplier is unregistered, recipient has to generate invoice on himself. Self invoice concept we have seen. So now what is the concept here now? Sir, supplier is issuing the invoice, na, no problem, sir. This time of supply is useful. But there was a scenario where, sir, supplier is unregistered and recipient has to raise invoice on his own. Then what will be the time of supply? So the section 13 subsection 3 was not addressing this. Please understand, I repeat, this amendment is only in section 13 subsection 3, but not in section 12 subsection 3. So 12 subsection 3, you know, time of supply for goods covered under RCM. So time of supply for goods covered under RCM is nothing but what? Date of receipt of goods, date of payment, or 31st day from actual date of invoice. But 13 subsection 3 alone got amended. 12 subsection 3, they did not touch anything regarding this. So 13 subsection 3 says, what is time of supply means? Date of payment 61st day from the actual date of invoice. That is very important. Actual date of invoice if the invoice is raised by the supplier. No, sir, supplier did not raise the invoice. Then you don't take this one, take date of payment and actual date of issue of invoice. Date of issuance of invoice means we are talking about the actual date of issuance of invoice, whichever is earlier. If the invoice is to be issued by the supplier, 61st day you will compare from the actual date of invoice. But if the invoice is raised by the recipient, you will take actual date of invoice itself. That will be the time of supply. Okay, so date of payment, if invoice is raised by the supplier, time of supply will be 61st day from the actual date of invoice, whichever is earlier. No, sir, if the invoice is raised by the recipient, date of payment and actual date of invoice of the recipient when the invoice has been raised by the recipient, whichever is earlier. So if it is FCM, you will compare, sorry, if it is supplier raised the invoice, you will compare point 1 and 2. If the invoice is raised by the recipient, you will compare point 1 and 3, whichever is earlier. Okay, hope it is clear. I repeat again, section 13 subsection 3 alone got amended. Section 12 subsection 3 doesn't have any such amendment. So 13 subsection 3 says, sir, invoice is raised by the recipient. Now time of supply is simple. Invoice is raised by the supplier. What is the time of supply? Time of supply will be date of payment or 61st day from actual date of invoice, whichever is earlier. No, sir, invoice is raised by the recipient himself. So recipient himself. Then what is the time of supply? The time of supply will be date of payment or actual date of invoice by recipient, whichever is earlier. Simple. So this will be the time of supply. Okay, hope it is clear for you. Please be careful with this. Okay, so this is one interesting amendment here. And yes, anything else in this I just wanted to discuss? So no, that's all. So this is what the simplified version of that section 13 subsection 3. Hope it is clear for you. So this is what the amendment in 13 subsection 3, time of supply. So the next amendment is the new rule 47A in rule 47A. Sir, what is this rule 47A? Na? This is linked to the amendment what we have seen in section 13 subsection 3, time of supply for services covered under RCM. So for the time of supply for services covered under RCM, we have seen if the recipient is required to raise the tax invoice, sir, as per 9 subsection 3, 9 subsection 4, who is liable to pay tax under reverse charge mechanism, if that fellow has to raise tax invoice, sorry, where supplier is unregistered. So in the law, there was no time limit for him when he has to raise tax invoice. So now we are bringing a time limit for him also. So if the recipient is required to raise tax invoice, the tax invoice which has been referred in rule 46, if that has to be raised by a person who is liable to pay tax under section 9 subsection 3 or 4, that means if the recipient is supposed to raise the tax invoice, as we have seen in
section 13 subsection 3, I repeat. So in such cases, he has to raise the tax invoice within a period of 30 days from the date of receipt of the said supply of goods or services. Simple. Recipient, now you are also having a time limit to raise tax invoice, no matter if it is goods or services. For both, we have given the time limit. The time limit is, if at all you are a recipient covered under RCM, maybe goods or maybe services. Sir, you are buying something and supplier is unregistered. So you have the responsibility to raise the tax invoice, the self invoice. You raise this within 30 days from the date of receipt of the goods or services. Okay. And please make sure you are raising this invoice. Once this invoice is raised, maybe within 5 days he raised, maybe within 25 days he raised, or whatever it is, that will compare in time of supply, section 13 subsection 3. But what the law says, within 30 days you raise. He says, sir, I will not raise within 30 days. What you will do? You will be subject to a penalty under section 122. Simple. Okay. So time limit to raise tax invoice for any recipient taking goods or services liable to raise tax invoice because supplier is unregistered. 30 days is the deadline. That is the another amendment. So this amendment, I repeat, this is connected to section 13 subsection 3 amendment also. Okay, right. So this is another amendment.